Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, good morning, Las Vegas. Welcome. It is the Vegas Take. It is Friday. We've made it to the end of the week, and we are live again, broadcasting from my apartment in Las Vegas because we're not allowed in the studio, understandably, because they are in lockdown, as many businesses. All the casinos are closed. Only the necessities, as far as businesses go, are open today in the state of Nevada. Of course, we have the state of California, where it's now a law in California. It's not a law here yet, but it is a law in California. You cannot leave your place unless you're going to get food, you're going to the supermarket, or it's a medical issue, or you're working in one of those situations where, you have to go to work. And now the state of New York has implemented that exact same thing for the most part. So it's crazy, strange times we're living in. Let me give you a quick rundown. We've got some great guests today coming up here. Hour number 2, Lawrence Weekly. He's the Clark County Commissioner, one of the Clark County Commissioners, and he was on our show a few months back. It was such a great interview. He was so happy that the NFL draft was coming here to Las Vegas. Boy, he has to be disappointed. Lawrence Weekly will be joining us in hour number 2. Mr. X, the Hollywood conservative, will be joining us in hour number 3. Talk about this California shutdown and this weird Imagine video that these celebrities did. It is beyond ridiculous. We'll get to that. OJ weighing in on golf. That's what he cares more about, is golf than the coronavirus. We'll get to that coming up in hour number 3. And this guy, his name is Chris Janetsky. He bought 48 boxes of what was it? It was that what do you call it? I'm drawing a blank here.
What, hand sanitizer?
Hand sanitizer.
No,
yeah.
toilet paper.
Oh, toilet paper. Okay, I'm sorry.
Different guy.
48 boxes of
Him and his wife. They accidentally ordered
Yeah.
2,000 some rolls of toilet paper before the coronavirus hit, and now they're sitting pretty.
Brian, it literally says T.P.
They literally hit the jackpot.
Well, there was a guy in Tennessee that stocked up on hand sanitizer.
Right, I got those
and then he
stories
wasn't
mixed
able
up.
to
Right.
sell it. So they're very similar.
So yesterday, if you recall, I was openly criticizing a local radio talk show host. His name is Allyn Root. Now, some people have called him a right-wing conspiracy theorist, but we're going to have him on the show. He's agreed. Allyn Root has agreed to come on the show at 9:30. Listen, I said some very not so nice things about him yesterday. Some things I may apologize for, some things I may not. But it's going to be, at least what I hope to be, a good civil debate with Allyn Root. And the reason why I spoke about him yesterday is because he was saying he has a product that he uses that kills the coronavirus. I find that to be extremely irresponsible, and it's just not true. I believe it to be a lie. But he has been nice enough, and a stand-up guy, will say, because he's willing to come on the show and have a debate about that. So I do respect that. I do appreciate that. He's going to be coming up in about 20 minutes. It's going to be must-listen-to radio, folks. You're not going to want to miss it.
But that being said, there.
Go ahead,
Okay,
JD. Finish
okay.
your thought.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
There was a study conducted in France with a hybrid drug of what's called chloroquine, which has been used to treat malaria for about 80 years, and a Z-Pak, or azithromycin, that actually showed and was very effective. 30 patients all had the virus who were infected with the virus. The virus ended up removed from their system entirely in 6 days.
According to who, though? What that report from who? What you're telling me right now, where did you get that information from? Because all of the professionals in this country, the medical professionals, and I'm going to list them when he comes on, are saying that none of that is a cure for the coronavirus, and there's no evidence to support the fact that it helps any viruses.
No, you're totally wrong about that, Brian.
Okay, well, it's not me that's saying that.
This was a study that came out of, it was done in France.
Exactly.
This came out of France.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to tell you what people in this country are saying about that stuff.
That doesn't change, though. That doesn't mean that it doesn't
Well, it does
work.
to me.
What I'm saying is we're definitely getting closer to having a cure for the coronavirus. Steps are being taken in the correct direction. Brian, if 30 people
But where are you getting that story? Where are you getting that story?
Drug, and within 6 days, the virus was. And again, this is a drug that's been around
Is that
for a
the
long
same
time.
thing that Allyn Root is trying to sell?
This is totally different.
Okay, so why are you bringing that up then? I don't understand.
Because I'm segueing to yes, there has been progress to having a cure for the coronavirus. It is just not colloidal silver.
Right, and that's exactly what we're talking
Right. No,
about.
no, yeah, but I'm not talking about that, Brian. I'm talking about.
Okay, well, I'm talking about
something-
Allyn
something-
Root.
I understand that, and
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But that being said, there is progress towards, and I cannot hear myself, Stein.
We're talking about, but I'm talking about Allyn Root and the reasons why he's coming on the show at the bottom of the hour. So anyway, we talked about it yesterday. We'll talk about it with Allyn Root today. Like I said, he's agreed to come on at the bottom of the hour, and we appreciate that. So he's a stand-up guy for doing that, and he's going to have a chance to defend himself, as anybody that we talk about on this show. I give anybody the opportunity to come on and defend themselves. Some say yes, some say no. We're glad that Allyn Root has agreed to come on, and he will be joining us coming up here in about 20 minutes or so. I want to start off with a story. Before I get to some of the national stuff of the day, I'll tell you, I'm sitting in my apartment last night, and I'm talking to a lot of friends. I'm catching up with a lot of people on the phone. Like, what else is there to do, right? Read a book, go out and take a walk, watch TV, order some food. What else is there to do right now? I'm thinking to myself, this is like the first couple days of what we've had to deal with. And what I mean by that is this. I grew up in Connecticut, and the reason why I left Connecticut is because I was bored. There was nothing to do out there. Not a lot of bars, not a lot of restaurants, not a lot of entertainment. The best thing about Connecticut, I always said, is you're between Boston and New York. Not a lot of things to do. And I'm sitting in my apartment yesterday, I'm saying, and I wrote this on social media yesterday, and I was being serious. It's like I went back in time, and I moved back to Connecticut. Because what we're looking at here in Las Vegas is nothing. And I love this city. I love Las Vegas. I love the state of Nevada. I like the weather, no taxes. I love the fact that, everything is so convenient 24/7. But now you go down to the Strip, everything is closed. There's no concerts going on. There's no sporting events. There's no entertainment. All the nice restaurants are closed down, and some of the restaurants might be open for takeout, but that's at best case scenario. There is literally nothing to do. And now I'm thinking to myself yesterday, what are we going to do for the next 30 days? And I guess I'm selfishly thinking like that because obviously the first thing I should be thinking of is the health and well-being of everybody in the state of Nevada. And I do feel that way. That obviously is my number one concern. But there's nothing to do. It's now Friday. And look, I'm a guy with horrendous attention deficit disorder. And I know you have the same, JD.
You are not
yes.
alone on that.
Yes,
right?
I know we both have that in common, sadly.
We carry that.
So, but listen, JD, you have a family, right? You have a family to take care of. You're married. You have a beautiful daughter. I'm this single guy living here in Las Vegas, and I'm the type of person that likes to go out. But when I say go out, here's what I mean.
Keep in mind, Brian, I have a beautiful daughter that is 2 years old and cannot go to daycare. So
that's difficult.
So my daughter is at home all day long, and we just moved from a big house into a much smaller place. So it's not as easy as you would think.
No, I didn't say it was easy, but you have more responsibility than me. I guess that's what I was
that's
trying
an
to.
Absolute fact.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So a guy like me, I'm not one. I don't drink a lot, and I never was one to go to the clubs and all that sort of stuff. But on a Friday night or a Saturday night, I'd like to go out with someone for dinner, maybe catch a comedy show or a movie, maybe go to the casino, maybe play a little poker. I'm the type of person that likes to go out. And what I mean by that is like not out till 3, 4 in the morning and getting drunk. I'm too old for that. But I'm saying just going out and having options. We literally have no options now. What are our options? I mean, I stated it earlier in the show. Our options are what type of food are you going to get for takeout? What's on television? What are you going to watch? Netflix, go on the internet. Really, that's it. But this is like day 2 of this thing. And I know I'm not alone in many of you thinking, what the heck are we going to be doing for the next month? And there's a lot of people that are out of work. There's a lot of people out there that don't know what they're going to do with their time.
How about a nice, refreshing hike?
No.
Nice walk in the park?
No. That's not for me.
Exercise?
No, it's not for me.
Doesn't count as entertainment.
Stein,
No.
it's 48 degrees out this morning in Las Vegas. It's been very, very cold the last 3 days. It rained yesterday as well, so the weather hasn't been up to those standards to go on those walks or those Red Rock hikes.
But I mean, that's it. I mean, what else do we have for options? Maybe I guess you could go on a picnic with somebody, but you got to stay 6 feet away from them. I mean, it's insane. So the point I'm trying to make is there are some people out there that are freaking out. What are we going to be doing the next month? Obviously, number one priority, like I said, is keeping yourself safe and healthy and with your family, that sort of thing. That's priority number one. I totally understand that. But this is new territory for a lot of us. This is the reason why I moved to Las Vegas. This is the reason why I love this city, because it gives you options. I like any city that gives you options, and Vegas is that city. And that's really what what I'm thinking to myself. We're going to be doing this for the next month. It's crazy. We better figure out, put your cell phones down, put your laptop away, and but the problem is people say, well, people aren't social with one another anymore. The day of the millennials where people don't want to interact. Well, they're telling us that we shouldn't interact. We shouldn't be close to each other. So what else do we have besides our cell phone, besides our laptop, besides our home entertainment systems or whatever you want to call it? What else do we have? It's crazy times that we're living in. We will take some calls coming up in hour number 2. And as I've said it all week this week, and I'll say it again, this show's about you. You know, we want to hear your concerns. We want to hear about what you've had to go through over the course of the last several days. How are you adapting to this coronavirus pandemic? So we'll take your calls coming up in hour number 2. But this is a story I really want to get to on a national front. And by the way, we'll give you the latest updates. Donald Trump holding a press conference as we speak. We'll give you the nuts and bolts of that press conference coming up here in just a little bit. But the big story that came out yesterday, besides the fact that this virus is rapidly growing. I think we're up to, if I'm not mistaken, it's something along the lines of a little over 16,000 people now with the virus. So it's scary times we're living in.
It's about 14,700 with 218 deaths.
No,
last time I checked.
Yeah, well, we just saw on the news just now. It's approaching 17,000. It's in the 16,000s right now. Of those who are infected, you're right. Those who have died, sadly it's around that 200 number. But things are getting very serious. So in a time where you want to hear about our politicians working their asses off, putting laws into place and putting things in place to try to do whatever they can to help us, now we have a story that comes out now that we're learning that 4 senators have dumped their stocks when they went into private meetings, intel meetings about this virus weeks ago. This is a really, really troubling story. So Chairman Richard Burr, we're learning he sold anywhere between 700,000 and 1.7 million of his holdings. Way back on February 13th, you're telling me Donald Trump didn't know how serious the thing was in early February? This is a week before the market started to tank. And the records are showing that the stock sold by Burr, a North Carolina Republican, he was receiving daily briefings on the coronavirus outbreak at that time, including holdings in hotels, shipping firms, and other industries that were hit hard by this pandemic. This is a report that's out from the Washington Post, and nobody in the Burr camp is denying it. Burr is also under scrutiny for remarks he made to a group of VIPs at a private luncheon. It happened on February 27th. He gave them warnings, much stronger than anything we had said in public. You're telling me if Burr didn't know what was going on, or I'm sorry, if Burr knew what was going on in February, you're telling me the president didn't? Don't make me start going over the comments that the president of the United States made in February, because they're troubling and they're disgusting and they're not factual. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I want to play you a little bit of audio. This is a leaked audio recording. It was obtained by NPR. This is Senator Richard Burr speaking on February 27th, that day that I was just talking about. On this day, the U.S. only had 15 confirmed cases at the time, and Trump was downplaying the virus. Have a listen to this.
There's one thing that I can tell you about this. It is much more aggressive in its transmission than anything that we have.
Do we have that audio, guys?
In recent history. It's probably more akin to the 1918 pandemic.
There you go. There it is. So you have Senator Richard Burr saying how serious this virus was. He knew. And this was back on February 27th. At that time, the U.S. only had 15 confirmed cases. And this was around the same time that Burr dumped his stock. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but here's a situation where I actually agree with Tucker Carlson. Rarely do I ever agree with him. And even though he only covered this story for about a minute or two yesterday, because if it's anything anti-Trump, or if it's anything obvious that hurts a Republican, once in a while Tucker will cover it, but he'd rather do 20 minutes on Hillary Clinton. But this is Tucker Carlson last night where we agree, where he's ripping Senator Richard Burr. Have a listen to this.
So you may have seen the news reports this afternoon. The chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee sold more than $1 million in stock in mid-February after learning how devastating the Chinese coronavirus could be. He had inside information about what could happen to our country, which is now happening, but he didn't warn the public. He didn't give a primetime address. He didn't go on television to sound the alarm. He didn't even disavow an op-ed he'd written just 10 days before, claiming America was, quote, better prepared than ever for coronavirus. He didn't do any of those things. Instead, what did he do? He dumped his shares in hotel stocks so he wouldn't lose money. And then he stayed silent. Now, maybe there's an honest explanation for what he did. If there is, he should share it with the rest of us immediately. Otherwise, he must resign from the Senate and face prosecution for insider trading. There is no greater moral crime than betraying your country in a time of crisis. And that appears to be what happened.
Could not agree with Tucker Carlson anymore. This man, there's going to be no logical explanation for this. He needs to go, and he needs to go to jail. Now, it doesn't stop with him, folks, sadly. At a time where we should be talking about how do we help Americans? How do we help people? How do we get them the care that they need? How are they safe from this virus? The Daily Beast reporting that Senator Kelly Loeffler, the newest member of the Senate, sold up to $3 million in stock between January 24th, the day of a private all-senator meeting on the coronavirus threat, and mid-February. Just as troubling is the fact that during this time, Trump and his administration were downplaying the virus. Well, Kelly Loeffler knew what was going on. She had these private senator meetings.
You also know that Kelly Loeffler's husband is the head of the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange as well, and she's worth about $500 million. She's the wealthiest senator by a lot.
Well, you know what? She could be wealthy all she wants to, but she could be wealthy behind bars. I believe she also deserves to go to jail. Bloomberg, and by the way, it's not just Republicans that we're talking about here. Bloomberg cites financial records showing committee members Dianne Feinstein, who is a Democrat, and Republican James Inhofe also sold stock after these January briefings. Feinstein unloaded millions of dollars worth of shares in the biotech company Allyn Therapeutics, and Inhofe got rid of $400,000 worth of stock. Some of it, PayPal and the real estate company Brookfield Asset Management.
And Richard Burr, by the way, is responding, Brian and JD, writing on Twitter, I relied solely on public news reports to guide my decision regarding the sale of stocks back on February 13th. So he's denying that he did what he's been accused of doing.
Oh, what a piece of garbage. So basically what he's saying is he went into all these private meetings and he got all this private intelligence and private information, but what he's claiming is, oh no, I didn't use any of that information. I just used the public knowledge. Well, guess what, Mr. Burr? What public knowledge are you talking about? Are you talking about the public knowledge when Donald Trump was downplaying this virus? Is that the kind of public knowledge that you're talking about, you idiot?
He says he's asked the chairman of the Senate Ethics Committee to open a complete review of the matter with full transparency.
I think it all comes down to, does he trade a lot of stock typically? How much did he have? And for example, Loeffler, she probably has a couple $100 million in the stock market, and a standard trade for her might be $2 to $3 million. That could be a
I'm not buying it.
But because you don't. But you just listen, Brian.
It's the day of the meeting.
I get it, but I'm saying with Richard Burr again, you're not listening to me.
I'm listening.
No, you're not actually.
I am.
No,
the day of the meeting, they both did this. The day of the meeting. Go ahead. I just disagree with you. Go ahead.
Are you going to interrupt me again?
Go ahead. Finish.
Are you sure?
Go ahead. I'm still going to disagree with you. But go ahead.
I'm saying Loeffler, this might be a standard trade for her. If Richard Burr made a trade that was significantly larger than his standard trade under these circumstances, and he also reassured the American public that things were okay in the process, I totally agree with Tucker Carlson. I think what Richard Burr did, because I'm guessing he probably had a few $1,000,000 in the stock market, not a $200 million like Kelly Loeffler. I think what Burr did is much more egregious than everybody else.
All right. So my opinion stays the same, and here's why. This is the day of the private meeting. As soon as she got out of that meeting, we're talking hours later, she got rid of $3 million of stock. Now, hold on. Let me finish now. If this was a regular day where maybe it was before one of these meetings, I would agree with you. But you're telling me it's not, doesn't raise eyebrows that the day of this meeting?
Obviously, it raises eyebrows. Obviously, Richard Burr did what he did under those. I'm saying with Kelly Loeffler, with her,
and I'm talking about Kelly Loeffler.
With her particular situation, if she's been trading millions of dollars every single week for the last year, and she does that, and her standard trade is in that range, and now if she dropped $100 million in stock after that meeting,
she didn't have that much stock in it.
No, I'm saying in general, in whatever holdings she had. Because the entire market crashed.
Okay, but let me repeat this.
It wasn't just specific businesses.
I understand.
What I'm saying is, if Loeffler had taken out 50% of her money in the stock market, then I would agree with you, her being on the same level as Burr. But I'm guessing that Burr probably took about 60% of his money out of the stock market because his net worth is significantly lower than Kelly Loeffler's.
Let me repeat this again because I think this is very, very important. On January 24th, Kelly Loeffler, the day of, not the day before, not the day after, the day of a private all-senators meeting on the coronavirus threat. This wasn't a private meeting about other issues. It was a specific private all-senators meeting.
Classified.
Classified meeting about the coronavirus threat. She immediately dropped $3 million of stock. Now, to me, that is all you need to know. Because nobody, and I mean nobody, could convince me that she dumped $3 million for any other reason other than the fact that she had just gotten out of that meeting and received some information.
And again, I would take a look at her trading history before I would make that statement. That's all I'm saying.
Well, not me. Not me. We just disagree. I think the proof is in the pudding. And the proof is that she decided to dump all this stock hours after this meeting. I think all these senators are guilty, including Feinstein. All 4 of these senators, in my personal opinion, are guilty. And what a disservice to this country, where you are actually speaking publicly about this virus and downplaying it, along with the President of the United States and his administration, and then behind closed doors, you are dumping stock after going into these private all-senator meetings on the coronavirus threat. You want to talk about a serious crime? And listen, there are some things that people have done as far as stocks go. Who's the cook? What's her name? I'm drawing a blank now. That went to jail for insider trading.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart. Yeah. Now, what Martha Stewart did was wrong. She broke the law and she went to jail. You asked me what these senators have done is 20 times worse, because they're downplaying a virus, and at the same time they're trying to downplay it publicly with their statements. They're going behind closed doors, maybe with their husband or wife or with their families, after going into these private all-senator meetings on the virus, and they're dumping stock.
And the reason why Burr would do something like reassure the public is to keep the stock where it's at. Which allows him to dump the stock. Had he told the public what was going on, the stock would have dropped by itself, and he wouldn't be able to get out of his position.
And what you were talking about Burr, let me give you a little bit more information about what you said. So Burr's net worth was estimated at around $1.7 million in 2018, meaning the sale likely included most or all of his holdings, according to ProPublica Notes.
That's what I'm saying.
So, but again, you understand what I'm saying. You
get
go
what
into
you're
a
saying.
private meeting.
I get what you're
she
saying.
could be worth $1 billion. You go into a private meeting, and it also, and by the way, this private classified meeting was only about the coronavirus. And then hours after this meeting, you dump stock.
I get it, but Richard Burr dropped about 90% of his entire net worth. Kelly Loeffler dropped about 1.5% of her net worth.
This guy knows he's screwed. He knows he's screwed.
Considering what he did, he should be screwed.
He said he did this,
and he should spend time behind bars.
He said he did this, JD, from public knowledge. I mean, it's just what a lying scumbag. Now, this sometimes it could be a little difficult to prove, but I think in his case, I think you're right. I don't think it's going to be difficult to prove it all. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Wayne Allyn Root will be joining us, radio host out of Newsmax, also a Review Journal columnist. We talked about him yesterday. I said some not very nice things about him yesterday. We're going to get into this debate. Is it okay for people to say certain pills or certain, I guess I'm struggling for the right word here, but certain items can kill the coronavirus where there's no proof to back that up? I'm going to give him a chance to defend it when we come back.
Certain magical elixirs and potions.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be joined live on the air by Wayne Allyn Root. We'll be back right after this. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
Can a tree change a life? At Trees for the Future, we believe trees make all the difference in the fight against poverty, hunger, and climate change. Through a proven permaculture method called the Forest Garden Approach, Trees for the Future has positively impacted over 26,000 farmers and their children. Are you ready to leave a lasting impact on the world? Find out how to plant seeds of hope this season at trees.org/radio. That's trees.org/radio.
Here are 3 things about Vistaprint business cards. Which do you think is true? 1, our business cards are now edible. 2, our business cards now come with sound effects. 3, our business cards now ship for free. Yep, it's 3. All Vistaprint business cards now ship free, and that goes for any style and quantity. You pick the style, the shape, and the paper. The result is a card you're proud to hand out. So visit Vistaprint.com for free shipping on all business cards in any style and any quantity. Just use promo code 5050. That's Vistaprint.com, promo code 5050.
Special report coronavirus update. The government is extending the tax filing deadline to July 15th, suspending standardized school testing and suspending student loans.
Today, Secretary DeVos has directed federal lenders to allow borrowers to suspend their student loans, and loan payments without penalty for at least the next 60 days, and if we need more, we'll extend that period of time.
The president's also invoking the Defense Production Act. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio says the city's requests from the federal government are being ignored.
We constitute 30% of the cases in the United States of America and about 70% of the cases in New York State. We are now, whether we would like it or not, we're the epicenter. And I have made repeated appeals to the federal government to get us basic medical supplies, and there is no meaningful response.
New York and California are now banning non-essential travel. I'm Mike Morse.
It's time to check the roads
From the Allyn Root Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Staples Stores. The accident on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at Decatur still active. Blocking the left lane, merge right to get around. Slowing is from Buffalo. A hit-and-run accident investigation underway at Russell east of Sand Hill. And Warm Springs Road still closed at Bruce Street for an ongoing accident investigation. Use an alternate to get around like Sunset or Windmill instead. Staples can help you grow your business this spring by printing custom marketing materials. Visit Staples Print and Marketing Services today. Staples. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Maybe you can relate to this. A lot of people think they're stuck with their health plan. It costs too much, or for whatever reason, they just don't like it. The great news, you are not stuck with it. There is a choice. It's called MediShare, and you could save so much. The typical savings for a family is $500 a month. Major difference maker. This is the affordable alternative to health insurance. And just to give you a little more info about MediShare, it's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. It's worked beautifully for 26 years, has more than 400,000 members, and they've shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So yes, they can help share your needs too. So you're not stuck. There's an excellent alternative, whether you're single or married, you got a family. MediShare is super flexible. You can choose an option that works for you and start saving lots of money. You can join anytime. They're great to talk to. No pressure. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Hey, Las Vegas, it's KDON's John Schaefer. You know, I've been living here in Las Vegas for 13 years, and I love this city. In fact, all of us here at KDON and Beasley Media are doing all we can to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. We're all in this together. KDON is here to support you, broadcasting live, providing information and entertainment. You can stream us from home on our app, smart speaker, or at kdwn.com. We're all in this together, Las Vegas. A message from the Beasley community of caring.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 a.m. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Friday. And, you know, yesterday we spent some time and we talked about some of those people out there that are pushing certain types of medicines that may or may not help the coronavirus. So the man we have with us on the line right now, he's the host of the Allyn Root Show on Newsmax TV. He also hosts a radio show for USA Radio Network and writes a column for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. We appreciate Allyn Root joining us on the line. Wayne, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Hey, Brian and JD, how are you this morning? Thanks for having me on, by the way. I appreciate it.
Sure, Wayne, and I appreciate you coming on. Let me start the interview by saying this. We're all emotional, certainly during these times. And we did a story yesterday. It was in regards to one of your tweets about the alkaline structured silver. We'll get to that. But I called you some not so nice names. And we asked you to come on the show today. And I said, listen, I am more than happy to apologize to you if anything I said yesterday, hurt you or you felt was disrespectful. Then that was certainly not my intention. And certainly willing to apologize to you. And my hopes is that you'll accept my apology and that we could have a very respectful debate today. Does that sound okay with you?
Well, it sounds fine. I really didn't call for a debate. I just called because I don't know why you chose yesterday such a line of attack over something that just is ridiculous. All I was doing, Brian, if you want to attack me over politics, that's always cool and that's fine. But I guess because I grew up as a Jewish kid in New York, and most of my friends and relatives are liberals, I don't hate the person. I only hate the politics. I never, ever, ever get mad at people unless I meet them and I don't like them. That's a different story. I'm betting any amount of money, if you ever met me, you'd really like me. We would just have to avoid politics.
Well, fair enough.
Most of my friends and I avoid political discussions. If they're liberal, I just say stay off politics.
Okay.
Let's talk about, let's talk about sports. Let's talk about business. Let's all be friends, but never, ever, ever talk about something that makes us hate each other. And so we don't.
Fair enough.
My point to you is I heard from Andrew Paul, who's a vice president of my company. He thinks you're a great guy. So I'm sure if you and I ever met each other, we'd like each other. And you said such terrible things about me yesterday, and I thought they were completely uncalled for. And I just I wanted to try and make friends today. That's the only reason.
And I appreciate and listen, Wayne, I appreciate that, but I want to give you a little bit of background. Listen, I apologize for using that term. That was uncalled for, and that's why I'm apologizing. But I have to ask you this. I have to give you my perspective. You put out a tweet that said, if I did get the coronavirus, I'd use massive vitamin C plus massive doses of alkaline structured silver. Here's what my problem with this. You said it kills the virus and inexpensive. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention said there's currently no vaccine to prevent the coronavirus. The National Institute of Health National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health said scientific evidence doesn't support the use of silver dietary supplements. The Food and Drug Administration and the Federal Trade Commission have sent warning letters to companies for promoting silver products that claim to treat to prevent the coronavirus. So again, my question to you is, you have a huge platform. If you want to take this stuff, I've got no problem with that. You can take whatever you want, but you have a huge platform, Allyn. I'm sure you would agree with that. When you say it kills the virus, there's no evidence to support that, and that's why I got frustrated when I saw your tweet.
I think probably you misconstrued the part of the tweet, because I said I would take intravenous vitamin C. It's proven, not by me, but in China and in South Korea, I've tweeted out the articles, that intravenous vitamin C has, in fact, caused miraculous recoveries in both those countries, and they're trying to use it on more and more people.
Okay, but
I, for my lifetime, have been a big believer in vitamin C, and by the way, I've used silver for 30 years. Used to be colonial silver. Now I've got this new kind that's a new generation I think is much better, and you can't OD on it. You're not going to turn silver. You're not going to turn gray. So I happen to like it, but I've given health advice just as to what I use to stay healthy at major business events for 30 years now. I get on the stage and everybody, hey, got questions? Every person in the audience always asks the same question. How can we get the energy and vitality that you've got, Mr. Root? And I always say, well, here's what I've done my whole life. You could choose to do whatever you want, but I take massive doses of vitamin C, massive doses of vitamin D3, massive doses of kyolic garlic. I take 100 vitamin pills a day. I eat a mostly organic diet. I exercise between an hour and 2 hours a day, and I've always used silver to keep away virus and bacteria.
But that's you. No, I understand.
And everybody goes, great, thank you, Mr. Root. It's just free, unsolicited advice.
Okay, Wayne, I get that, but you didn't just say this vitamin C.
By the way, Wayne, that is quite the regimen.
Okay, but you didn't just say vitamin C. You also said massive doses of alkaline structured silver, and then in your next sentence, you said kills the virus and inexpensive. Are you willing to say on this show right now that there's no proof in this country that alkaline structured silver kills the coronavirus? Are you willing to admit that?
I'm willing to say on this show right now that I'm a big believer in Whole Foods and Sprouts and
All right.
holistic health, and that there is no proof of any vitamins in this country, and all we use as a country are chemotherapy and radiation and drugs, some of which are good, but some of which are terrible and harsh, and the American medical field just does not acknowledge what people in Japan and Asia and South Korea and all over the Orient acknowledge, which is there is a great benefit and a great health and vitality to using holistic health and vitamins and herbs. And
Understood.
And I believe in them. I'm not talking about proof. No one's discussing proof. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I've never said it cures anything.
You said it kills the virus in your tweet. Kills virus and inexpensive.
I said that the company that makes the product says in their studies it kills virus. I didn't say coronavirus.
Well, in the tweet, you're talking about the coronavirus, and you said okay, so maybe you could have worded your tweet better. Can we agree on that?
Absolutely. By the way, I didn't even know till you just said it that was the exact words in my tweet. I put out 40 of them a day. That's the whole danger of tweets and social media, is that you're giving a quick snapshot of what...
All right, so let's not talk about social media. Fair enough. Okay, so on March 11th, and listen, I'm not trying to attack you here, Wayne. I'm trying to clear some things up with you.
The funny thing, evidence is obviously not conservative. It's obviously liberal.
That's not true. No, Wayne, you can't say things like that. That's not true. First of all, hold on. Let's clear something up because I know you don't like it when people make assumptions about you. First of all, I'm not a liberal.
The assumption about me is my audience is 100% conservative.
Okay, so let me just clear things up. First of all, 9 out of 10 of our callers are conservative, so you're wrong there. We have Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, and Brian Kilmeade. You can't get.
Your station.
Okay, number 2. Okay, hold on. Let me explain. Number 2, I didn't vote for Barack Obama, and I might not vote for Joe Biden. Okay, I'm not liberal. I'm in the middle. I just don't like Donald Trump. But let's get back to the task at hand here.
So let me say what I wanted to say.
Sure.
Some of your audience is certainly liberal.
Okay, sure.
And I have found that when I shop in Whole Foods and Sprouts, it's a real good mix, but it's probably 60-40 liberal to conservative. It's more of the Birkenstock liberal.
No, I understand. Sure.
The conservative crowd. So my point is, I'd be willing to bet you if you did a poll of your own listeners, you would find that all of them believe that shopping at Whole Foods and Sprouts and stores like it, vitamin stores, is very beneficial to their health and it builds their immune system. And they feel, nobody's talking about facts or scientific evidence, they feel that they can do a good job of building their immune system and maybe having a chance to not get coronavirus because they built their immune system through all kinds of vitamins and herbs and healthy organic food. I do believe that. I've never said it's scientific evidence, and I don't care it's no scientific evidence because we have a very corrupt system in America, and here I'm a conservative telling you this, a corrupt FDA and a system that literally they'll come with guns drawn and arrest a doctor who preaches holistic health, but they'll be glad to protect drug companies and doctors who literally their patients are dying due to medical mistakes, overdoses, and bad prescription drugs, and no one says a word about that. I'll bet you all your listeners are cheering for me right now with what I just said. You got to go holistic because the real medical community, unfortunately, sadly, doesn't understand vitamins and herbs because they can't make any.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, Wayne, we will let the listeners decide for themselves, but let's move on. Here's something that bothered me, and maybe we can clear this up as well, and I appreciate you doing this, by the way. As you know, absolutely, you deserve that, and I appreciate you coming on. So 59 people died on October 1, and we were all touched by what took place that day. I know someone personally, myself, that was shot. In October of 2017, after that mass shooting, you said it was an Islamic terrorism, and you never apologized for that, instead insisting that you heard about the connection from a credible news source. Are you willing to apologize to people in the Muslim community for saying it was Islamic terrorism?
Now, this is a perfect example of what I think about ambush journalism. What has this interview got to do with October 1st? Nothing. I've put out 28,000 tweets. You've just picked one. This is what the liberal media does every day.
But it's something you said.
Out of 28,000 tweets, you guys have found 4 of them that you find objectionable. And by the way, here's the good news. I'm going to answer you. Nobody has ever bothered to ever ask me when they attack me. No liberal media has ever said, hey, Wayne, what's your response to what we said about you? Nobody ever wants to give you a chance to respond.
I'm giving you a chance.
You just did, so I'm going to respond.
Yeah.
I responded on my show last night. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
At all. I just brought it up because someone had texted me something that was going on in Las Vegas, and I said, you know what? I'm going to mention it on the air, but I have no idea if it's true. And if anyone knows if it's true, if there's anyone in law enforcement that knows if it's true, please call the show, whether on the air or off the air. Here's the phone number, because I never want to be caught again. In my whole life, I've only been caught one time saying something that turned out to be not true. And that was because I was in Park City with my fiance on the night of the Vegas terror attack, had just gone to sleep, was lying in my bed. My phone exploded. Suddenly, there were hundreds of texts and emails and calls. I get up from a sound sleep, and this is now like at 10:15, minutes after the shooting has started. My audience that listens to my show, Brian, happens to be a large percentage of Metro cops in this town. They love me. And so I had all these cops saying, Wayne, it's 9/11. We're under massive attack up and down the strip. There's reports in every hotel of shooters in the lobby. This has to be a 9/11 Islamic terrorist attack. It has to be ISIS.
Okay, fair enough, which wasn't true. So which?
And by the way, let me tell you the second thing they told me. Hundreds of people shot and killed at Mandalay Bay. When no one in America knew it, I turned on the TV at that moment, and they were reporting like 3 shot, no deaths so far confirmed. I knew there were hundreds of bodies and wounded.
But Wayne, I'm with you. Wayne, I'm with you.
I was emotional delusional and hysterical.
I get it, Wayne. I'm with you. A lot of people that day didn't know what was going on. People thought that there were shooters in other casinos. That's not the part. I get it. So I'll go back to my original question. Are you willing to apologize to?
I'm going to answer you.
Okay.
I'm going to answer you. You're the first person in the entire United States media who's ever said, by the way, was that tweet like minutes after the attack, during the attack? Were you in the middle of thinking you could save people's lives by warning them what was happening? Not one person ever bothered to ask that question. So I'm going to give you credit, even though I think this is an ambush.
No, it's not an ambush at all.
Well, it is, because how would you like it if I found the one tweet that you ever put out that you felt bad about?
I wouldn't get defensive and I would answer it. I wouldn't get defensive and I would answer it.
Yeah, well, I'm answering it. I just did.
Okay, so don't attack me for ambushing you. You just said that you've only said, hold on, I get it.
I felt bad
Okay.
because it obviously was not correct.
Okay, but Wayne, you said this yourself 5 minutes ago. You said, I've only been wrong once. You said that Democrats were paid off by Mexican drug cartels to oppose Trump's border. Where is your proof? Where is your proof of that?
Do you know to be not true that all the campaign contributions to the Democrats, not one penny of it has ever come from someone who likes the wall to not be there? So
What Mexican drug cartel paid off a Democrat? Give me one specific example, please.
I don't need to give you an example.
Because you don't have any, that's why. Because you don't have any.
Brian, my opinion is, that's why I've become a major...
How do you form an opinion without a fact?
My opinion is Democrat Party is absolutely the favored party of Mexican cartels.
And where's your proof of that? You make a claim like that, you got to have proof. That's why people call you a conspiracy theorist.
I didn't come on for a shouting match or a debate.
So you don't want to answer. You don't want to be held responsible for things you said. You said Obama and Hillary Clinton have had gay relationships. Where's your proof of that? Yeah, it's not funny. What if somebody said that about you and your family? Would you laugh?
Get it straight. 28,000 tweets, and you tried to find 4 of them.
No, I've got more. I've got about 20 more. Would you like to hear more? Why don't you defend some of your ridiculous tweets?
28,000 I could counter you with that were all perfect, fantastic.
You said calling somebody old is comparing it to using the N-word. Would you like to defend that tweet as well? Now I'm up to 5.
Oh, say that again. Let me hear that again.
You said somebody calling you old, there's no difference in when you call someone old versus when you call somebody the N-word. Would you like to defend that tweet?
Here's the real story. Let's go to the backstory. When I look at my responses on Twitter, first of all, I'm 58 years old. I look great. I feel great. I look better than most 30-year-olds.
Okay.
And so when I look at my responses on Twitter, liberals never argue politics. They always say nasty things.
What does this have to do with liberals? You're comparing the word old to the N-word. That's irresponsible.
It's a horrible thing to say to someone, hey, you old man.
So you want to compare calling somebody old to the N-word, and now you're willing to defend that on KDWN. Do you realize how ridiculous that is? So to all African Americans, calling somebody old to you is the same as, just to be clear here, the same as the N-word.
I grew up in an all-black town.
That has nothing to do with it. That has no.
The good news is I've never used the N-word, and I find it disgusting and morally repugnant. But you know what? I see lots of racism against white people in America, lots of racism against Jews in America by the Democrat Party, lots of hatred of Israel by the Democrat Party, and lots of hatred by young people who are liberals in this country towards anyone over the age of 50. Disgusting, disrespectful talk. Hey, old man, I hate you. Go to hell. I hope you die of stomach cancer. I've gotten so many thousands of those at this point that, yes, I do believe it's a horribly disgusting way to think about life, to call someone who's 50 years old and washed up. It's disgusting, it's offensive, and it's rude, and it's really just a mindset of young people who don't know anything yet because they're too young to understand life, that one day they're going to be that same age.
So you think I'm too young to understand life at 39 years old, that I believe that the N-word is the most disgusting word in the dictionary, and I would never compare it to calling somebody old, and you think I don't understand life for having that opinion?
The N-word's right up there at the top.
With calling you old. So,
or lots of other words.
all right, well, we'll just agree to that's fine.
If you're 80 years old, old's probably not a terrible word to call someone because you are elderly and senior at the age of 80.
See, to me, it's like calling me bald. Like I'm, Wayne. Wayne, I'll compliment you. Wayne, I'll compliment you. You have a great head of hair.
Why did you say that Wayne Root's the only guy in America who knew that Trump would be elected president, went out on the limb and built
Well, because you're not.
Based on a great prediction.
Because you're not. There are other people in this country that also believed, including Michael Moore, that believed that Donald Trump is going to be elected. Because that would be a lie, Wayne, for me to say you are the only person in the world. Why are you laughing? Michael Moore said it. Ann Coulter said it.
I love Andrew Paul, but he's made one mistake in all the years I knew him, saying you were a nice guy.
Oh, because, so I'm not a nice guy because I challenge you? I'm not a nice guy because I challenge you on the air?
You're a putz. A putz.
Oh, so now you're going to name call me. See, so you're going to apologize? So you're going to name call me, but yet you were angry for me name calling you. That's called a hypocrite, Wayne.
Different word I used than the word you used.
Do you think every liberal is gay? Because you've said that before as well. You've said every liberal you believe is a homosexual. Would you like to apologize to all liberals and homosexuals, or would you like to defend that as well?
Stop with the lies. I've been pro-gay.
Oh, really? You never said that? Tell me right now on this show you never said that you believe liberals are homosexuals. Tell me that right now on this show.
Context once.
Oh, I took it out. Yeah, right. I take everything out of context. Right.
I make jokes and I'm entertained.
Oh, yeah, that's very funny, Wayne. That's very funny to say that. So it's okay for you. Well, guess what, Wayne? When I was on the show yesterday, I made a joke calling you a scumbag. That was just a joke. So did you laugh at that?
Oh, I see. I get it.
Did you laugh at? Was that funny to you?
Hey, Brian, I was on the air when someone called me on Newsmax TV and said, Wayne, this person said, I'm a Christian, and I know you're a Jew, and I can't understand why the Jewish people don't love Donald Trump. And I made a
You want me to give you the answer to that? Would you like me to give you the answer to that? Because I'll answer it as a Jew. You're a right-wing conservative.
I just want to tell you what I said.
You don't. Of course you don't need the answer.
I said a very funny little answer, a cute little answer. I said, I have no idea why, because in Israel, he's so beloved, he's like the king of the Jews. That quote was taken out of context, and I became the #1 news story, not in America, in the world, Brian, in the world.
For about 10 minutes, yes, you're correct.
In Europe, everywhere. Now, it was a little comment meant to be funny and elicit a laugh, and nobody ever asked me, Wayne, what did that comment really mean? And it was just a joke, and you're doing the same thing every liberal media does.
Okay, well, I'm not a liberal, so you can label me all you want to. That would be like me calling you a right-wing conspiracy. But let me say this. I don't believe you're a dumb guy, Wayne. I think you're a smart guy, okay? I believe you say things just like InfoWars to get clicks. Okay, let me finish. Okay, well, okay.
This was never intended as an apology, Brian. It's your way to get a little bit of ratings and to be.
Oh, so I'm using you for ratings. Okay, so you're telling me when you say gays, when you say all gays are liberals, it's not to get clicks. When you make these ridiculous jokes and these comments, that's not for ratings and clicks. Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
My ratings are through the roof because I'm an.
Answer the question. When you make these ridiculous claims, it's not about clicks and ratings.
Simple as that. Hey, Brian. There's no reason for you to be nasty. You've proven again today.
You're not answering my questions, and you called me names. I haven't called you a name.
One bad thing you've ever said. Do I bring up one bad thing you've ever said? No, because I don't know you.
Because I don't say things like you say. I don't attack people like you attack people. I don't say things because it's my opinion to get clicks. I say things because I actually mean it. Excuse me? Where have I called a Republican and said things about Republicans that you've said about Democrats? I don't say that Republicans were paid off by Mexican drug cartels. And then hold on a second. I've never said, and by the way, I don't listen to your show either, so thank you for the compliment. I've never said that Republicans are paid off by Mexican drug cartels and then somebody challenges me and I say, well, it's just my opinion. You have to have facts to back up an opinion, Wayne. When you say liberals are gay and then you say, well, it was just a joke.
Based on facts. I thought they were based on opinion. I didn't know that. And by the way, every conservative.
Name me something I said that is not a fact. Go ahead. Go into the archives.
Said, Brian, is it's irrational for anyone to believe that a liberal could say there's no crisis at the border.
Did I say there wasn't a crisis at the border? Of course there's a crisis at the border. But saying that, excuse me, saying there's a crisis. See, here's where you back off to your comments. When saying there's a crisis at the border and then saying Democrats paid off by Mexican drug cartels, millions, hundreds of millions of dollars are two completely different things. Don't change the subject.
I'll bet you're assuming I'm thinking they're paid off in a Swiss bank account, and you know what I'm saying?
Where's your proof?
Contributions to the Democrat Party are very high for a party that claims Republicans are the party of the rich. You guys outspend us.
What do you mean, you guys? What do you mean, you guys?
Why are you so irrationally against the wall? When America
did I say I was irrational against the wall? Where did I say that? Where did I say I was against the wall?
So someone doesn't care. Someone is irrational about sanctuary cities, and all I've ever said is,
okay.
I'm a smart guy, and I know somebody's getting money off.
So would a smart guy say? Would a smart guy say that Heather Heyer, at the white nationalist rally, was killed, and you said it was BS, and you said the protesters? Hold on, let me finish. You said on your show that they probably paid actors and infiltrators hired by Soros did it. See, because you keep saying 4 or 5. That's your defense. Let me tell you something. If you've been on the air for 40 years, If you've been on the air for 40 years and you say one irresponsible, horrific thing, you should be called out on it. That is a pathetic excuse on your part. You could have a billion tweets, but when you compare, excuse me, and no, don't Brian me. When you compare the N-word to calling somebody old, you sound like a fool.
This never happens to liberals because
I'm not a liberal. Don't you call me a liberal. You don't compare the N-word to calling somebody old, you fool.
Hey, Brian?
No, don't you hate Brian me. I've only got 4 or 5 tweets, so it's okay for me to say ridiculous, hurtful things. You're a fool and you can't defend it, so that's your defense. I've only got 4 or 5 tweets.
My entire 3-hour show each day.
Yeah, I have an entire 3-hour show too. Who cares?
Brian, it's not a good interview when you scream over your guests.
You know what? It's not a good interview because you haven't defended one of your most ridiculous tweets, and in your defenses, you're going after 4 or 5.
I didn't defend the Vegas massacre.
Did you defend any of the other? Well, it's ridiculous because you haven't apologized for it. I get the massacre tweet, but you're laughing. Will you apologize to Muslims?
I said I talked about it on my own show for a half hour.
Did you apologize?
I said that I wish I could take it back.
Did you apologize?
No, because I got police information that it was a coordinated...
And now that we know it wasn't true, are you willing to apologize, yes or no?
Nothing I said that was wrong. It just turned out to be incorrect.
So you didn't say it to be wrong, even though it was wrong days later. That makes a lot of sense.
To defend that, I'm here to ask you...
Well, you just brought it up. You haven't apologized for it.
Brian?
I'm sorry?
Brian, you're showing what a nasty, petty person you are.
Oh, I'm nasty and petty because you can't defend your ridiculous tweets, but I'm the nasty, petty one who... Let me tell you something. A nasty, petty person compares the N-word to calling somebody old. That's a nasty, petty person. Do you understand where the N-word came from? Do you understand how hurtful it is to African Americans?
10 minutes ago, but I try to be nice and listen to people, but you don't want it. You have no...
Okay, defend any of the tweets. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I tried to find common ground between you and I.
We have 0 common ground. 0.
We were supposed to get along. Your general manager, I'm sure, put pressure on you to apologize, and that's why you called me. And you didn't apologize. You turned it into a vicious...
You called me names in this. You called me names in this interview. You called me names in this interview. Would you like to apologize for the names you called me? Then we can part ways.
Clearly.
Okay, well, you know what? If you want to call me a putz, then I think you're a scumbag. So we're even.
Okay.
All right? No, it's not okay. If you want to use the courts and you want to sue me for calling you a scumbag, go ahead. Go ahead and sue me. Yeah, what a jerk. What a jerk. Get that guy off the line. What a jerk. So he calls me names, and the whole reason why he was angry yesterday calling our station was because I called him a name, and then he goes on the air today and calls me names. He can't defend any of his tweets. The tweets go on and on and on. He can't defend any of them. He refuses to apologize. He doubled down on one of his tweets saying that he believes calling somebody old is the same as calling somebody the N-word. And then when he can't defend any of it and he sounds like a fool, he calls me a putz and a bad person. Folks, Allyn Root was just exposed for you on the air. You can make your own decision if you'd like, but I used his own words. His own words against him. Some of the things he said over the years. Let me be very clear on this. I have 0 in common with Allyn Root. 0. I have nothing in common with this guy.
You're both Jewish.
Well, that's true. I have 0 in common with this guy. And if you noticed, when I kept reading off some of the things he said over the years, he couldn't defend it. He laughed.
Well, I think you were a little more prepared than he expected you to be.
Well, you know what? That's what radio hosts are supposed to do. I don't just spew opinions like him without facts to back it up. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be joined by Lawrence Weekly, Clark County Commissioner. Obviously, Lawrence is not happy about the fact that the NFL draft is not going to be happening here in Las Vegas. He's not happy about that, but for obvious reasons, and also the county response to the virus. We'll get to that and take some phone calls, your reaction to that interview as well when we come back. You're listening to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
Listen to the Texas Corners Bible Church every Saturday night at 11 p.m. and Sunday night at 10 p.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
I don't know.
Amid Las Vegas' glitz and glamour lurks the tragedy of homeless veterans, our nation's heroes who return from war but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a handout. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and
You know
donate
what?
any
I
amount
apologize.
you
No
can
problem.
afford
We'll move on.
at
You read all the other things he
vvlv.org.
said. You couldn't defend
That's
any of them.
vvlv.org.
logic of, like, well, I've written 20,000 tweets and you're calling me 9 to 5. Doesn't matter if it's more than one.
That's what I said.
You know, it doesn't matter.
Your home for Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las
But I've done
Vegas, a
20,000
Beasley
tweets, and the
Media
other-
Group station.
And Mexico are restricting border crossings to only essential transit, including trade. Canada and the U.S. is doing the same. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
As President Trump announced on Wednesday, the United States and Canada jointly agreed to restrict all non-essential traffic across our border. This decision goes into effect tonight at midnight. The restrictions will be reviewed after 30 days, and they exclude traffic and movement across the border for work or other essential reasons.
Focus is on Washington as talks continue on development of a $1 trillion relief package for businesses. Christine Williams.
We're seeing layoffs spike here because business owners are looking at 3 months of an economy deliberately shut off. They know there won't be work. They know there won't be money coming in.
You don't want to apologize at all. This is a
test
ruse.
of American capitalism.
President Trump has invoked the powers of the Defense Production Act to help expedite the manufacture of needed medical supplies. I'm Mike Morse.
But you know what you got?
New York is ratcheting up restrictions. Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Two basic rules. Only essential businesses will be functioning. People can work at home. God bless you. But only essential businesses can have workers commuting to the job or on the job. Second rule, remain indoors to the greatest extent to protect physical and mental health.
New York is offering to pay companies a premium to manufacture the medical equipment in need, ventilators, gloves, gowns, and masks. Indiana's postponing the state's May 5th primary because of concern about the pandemic. The Federal Reserve says that it will help banks in the purchase of municipal bonds, a move to keep the credit flowing to cities and to states. On Wall Street, the Dow was down 117, S&P down 22. I'm Mike Morse.
It's time to check the roads from the Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Upwork when you need in-demand talent on demand. A hit-and-run accident investigation underway in Russell, east of Sand Hill. Watch for police at the scene. Also, a crash reported on the 215 Southern Beltway eastbound at Decatur. That one should be in the clearing stage, but still expect some slowing approaching. And Warm Springs Road closed at Bruce Street for an ongoing accident investigation. Take an alternate to get around like Sunset or Windmill instead. Upwork has the world's largest network of independent professionals like designers, developers, data scientists, you name it. When you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how. I'm John Michaels from the KDON Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to HelixSleep.com and get up to $200 off mattress orders.
I recently read a news story about Homey, and it really got me thinking about this new way to buy and sell homes. Homey combines tech with experienced local agents that don't charge percentage-based commissions. It's only a low, flat $2,500 fee to list your house. My friends at Homey are offering a special promo to our Vegas Take listeners. You'll get $250 off your listing fee when you sell your house. Just text JD to 88588.
I don't think you can go right into Lawrence Weekly and just have to
for
put
more
a button
information
on.
on homey.com.
Wow, that was
As
a good
Trump
one.
rises like a phoenix
You know,
on the wings of
people are
acquittal,
responding,
celebrate
blah,
his
blah,
soaring
blah,
place in
we'll-
history with a brand new
We will
2020
get that
Trump
up
Silver
on. We will get
Exoneration
that up
Medal.
on.
That's right.
Our
Now you
YouTube
can own
page
the
later
official
on today.
government.com
If you want
newly
to
minted
hear it
Trump
yourselves.
1-ounce Silver Exoneration Medal, made in the USA. Hurry. These medals are limited and only available at a special price by calling 1-800-222-3871 now. Fellow Americans, these beautiful, stunning official medals will stand forever in solid silver as a reminder of your loyalty to the man who turned this country around, President Donald J. Trump. To secure your 2020 Trump Exoneration Medals in pure silver, call government now at 1-800-222-3871. Call now and we'll give you a free Trump 2020 Patriots Pack, including a Declaration of Independence commemorative
I'll say
and
something
5
nice. You
Lincoln
have a
cent
good head of
coins
hair.
when you order. order. Call 1-800-222-3871 now to secure yours and get a Trump 2020
Craig
Patriots
Campbell writes, that was a
valued at over
classic interview
$10
before.
free with every order. That's 1-800-222-3871.
And that's a guy that doesn't like me.
Kelly
Really?
with
Craig
Westar
Campbell
Credit
does
Union.
not like me.
We've been through a lot in our city, and we always rally and come together. These times are no exception. We
sorry,
love you,
dude, I just
Vegas,
tried
and
it.
we
I
are
go
here
back
with
to
you.
listen to that.
Vegas strong, now and forever.
Just one after
Westar
another
Credit
after
Union,
another.
where you matter.
Hey, Las Vegas, it's
Brian
K-Don's
says some
John
real
Schaefer.
stupid
You know, I've
crap
been
on
living
Twitter.
here in
Far
Las
more
Vegas for
ridiculous than
13
Wayne.
years, and I
What?
love this
What?
city. In fact, all of us here at K-Don and Beasley Media are doing
Brian
all
sounds like a
weekend to prevent the
millennial
spread of
arguing with Dad
coronavirus. We're all in
about
this
being
together.
educated.
K-Don
when he's
is
being
here to
educated.
support
Brian is
you,
such a child who
broadcasting
hates
live,
everyone
providing
that disagrees
information
with him.
and
Block me on
entertainment.
Twitter for
You can
this
stream us
reason.
from home on our app, smart speaker, or at kdwn.com. We're all in this together,
Do we
Las
have our
Vegas.
guest or not?
A message from the Beasley community of caring.
So,
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 1015 FM, 720 AM. KDON. The opinions of the hosts on KDWN are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group. Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Let's take a nice deep breath, ladies and gentlemen. That was a fiery interview. We just had Allyn Root on, and obviously I don't think we're going to be grabbing a beer after the show, but if you missed that interview, we'll put it up on our Twitter page, on our YouTube page, all of our social media platforms. That was certainly an interview. We both got into it. He called me some names. I called him some names. But the ironic thing about that whole interview was that he was complaining yesterday that I called him a name, and he did the exact same thing to me live on the air. What does that say about somebody's character? Anyway, we're going to all take a deep breath. We're all going to take a step back.
Yeah, he definitely called you a putz. And
I've been called worse, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the difference.
It's not every day that you systematically dismantle a nationally syndicated radio host on our show, but that is literally what just took place.
Well, let me say this. Here's the big difference here. I'm not going to call his general manager or his radio station, and I'm not going to whine like a little girl and complain, ooh, he called me a putz. I'm going to file a lawsuit. That's not what we do here. He's entitled to think whatever he wants about me, and he can say whatever he wants, because quite frankly, I really don't care.
And for the record, you did apologize.
I did at the beginning until he called me a name. Then that's what kind of set me off. But anyway, welcome back to the show. Again, that was a great interview. At least I thought it was fun. I had a good time. I don't know if Wayne did, but we'll post that up on our social media platforms. You know, we've had different Clark County commissioners, on the show from time to time. Lawrence Weekly is no exception. He came on our show a few months ago. We had a great interview with him, and we were all so excited about this NFL draft coming up. Who would have thought that we would be in the times we are in now? It's a sad situation. Obviously, the health of people come first, but Clark County Commission's very own Lawrence Weekly joining us right now on the line. Lawrence, I know it's been a very trying week for you and for everybody, but how are you holding up?
Hey, man, let me first of all thank both of you gentlemen so very much, and I just want to say, because I don't want to get in the middle of your stuff, but you guys are gentlemen, right?
Thank you.
And so regardless of whether Wayne called you a name or not, remember you are a gentleman at all times, even when no one's watching or listening. So
I appreciate that, Lawrence. Thank you for your kind words. We just don't like putting up with crap here on this show. But Lawrence, I appreciate that. As I mentioned, you came on our show a few months ago. We were all so excited about this NFL draft, and I know there's bigger fish to fry now. Obviously, your priority is taking care of the people here in Las Vegas, making sure they're healthy and safe. But just from your standpoint personally, Lawrence, I mean, how disappointed are you that it doesn't appear as though this is going to happen?
I'm extremely disappointed. I'm really heartbroken because a lot of time and a lot of effort is definitely put into bringing something fantastic to Las Vegas. It's been a long time coming. And, I would say that there is a lot of disappointment. But let me just say this. I'm so optimistic, and you guys are as well, that, hey, when one door closes, another one's going to open. And I just think something bigger and better and greater is on the way for Las Vegas. And so don't fret. Let's take care of each other. Let's get through this crisis. and then let's just know that and believe that something greater is on the way.
Commissioner Wakely, I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I've been telling people over the course of the last couple of days. I said, look, I did a national interview the other day, and I said, look, here's the deal. It sucks, for lack of a better term, that the NFL draft isn't happening this year in Vegas, but let's be honest with this. We're going to have the NFL draft here eventually soon. Once hopefully this coronavirus subsides, we hope it does sooner than later. We're going to have the Super Bowl here. Right, Commissioner? I mean, we're going to have all these things here eventually.
These things are bound to happen right here in Las Vegas, and you look around the country. I'm going to tell you guys something. Last night, my wife and I, we were just kind of so bored. There's only so many more movies you can watch, and you clean out the garage, you start working on closets and packaging up clothes you can donate or what have you. We just decided, you know what? We just want to see what our city really looks like after dark, and we got in the car. We did. And we drove down Las Vegas Boulevard all the way from the SLS all the way down past Mandalay Bay. And it pretty much almost brought tears to my eyes because I'm a native Nevadan. And it just really hurt my spirit to see this is where we are. I've never seen anything like this before. Man, I'm getting choked up talking about it as we speak.
No, Commissioner, you're right. I mean, I was driving down the Strip the other day. And as I was driving down the Strip the other day, and you see all these casinos that are closed, and it's like a ghost town. I went down to Fremont Street. It's like a ghost town. And I was like, this is surreal. It's like zombie apocalypse. I was actually in shock because I've lived here a very long time, as you have. I've been here 20 years. I've never – you said it, Commissioner. We've never seen anything like this before.
Have never seen anything like it before. And – you know, what really helped me as I was driving, I was trying not to tear up in the car as we were driving, but I said to myself, self, you know what, we're going to bounce back from this, and I believe that we're going to be bigger and better and brighter here in Las Vegas. I just believe that our blessings are on the way just like the rest of this country, but one of the things that made me so proud about our community is that everyone, from your radio station on down the line, everyone is putting everyone's health first.
Yeah, no question.
Exactly.
It's not about the money. I love the fact that from the governor to, across party policy, how do you say this word? Partisan politics.
Yes.
And party lines, people are realizing and trying to put things in place. It was just announced today. Don't sweat and don't freak out about income tax, April 15th. It's been moved back. Let's start talking about unemployment benefits. Let's start talking about how do we help the airlines? How do we help our casinos? How do we help our small businesses? How do we help people bounce back from this? And so this is not a time where we need to start strategizing on how to one-up each other. Let's start thinking and being creative on how do we help each other survive this so that generations to come won't feel this. It'll be some type of casualties as a result of this thing, but we can minimize it if we continue to stay on the trajectory we are, and that's each one of us helping each other. Because as I heard on your station, as I was on hold, we are all in this thing together.
And Commissioner, there's actually been conversations already about the NFL draft coming back to Las Vegas in 2022, as well as Las Vegas getting the Super Bowl in 2025. Correct?
You heard it from the NFL commissioner. I mean, they're already looking at it. And as I got on the interstate last night, headed back home, I looked over and I actually looked at the sign, Allegiant Stadium. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought right here off of our interstate that we would see this?
Mm-hmm.
And so I am almost positive. I can almost say I can put my last little coin on it. We will see the NFL draft come back to Las Vegas, and we can almost guarantee Super Bowl will be right here in our community.
No question. Yep, no question. So, Commissioner, let's move on to even bigger and more important things, which is, of course, the coronavirus. Talk to me a little about the county's response to this virus. Listen, I agree with the governor, by the way. So you have the governor who shuts down all these casinos for a month, and I respect the governor very much, just as much as I respect Carolyn Goodman. I love Carolyn Goodman. I love Oscar. Oscar's a friend of mine. But Carolyn Goodman disagrees with the governor. She thinks that it shouldn't have been a month, and there have had some disagreements. Where do you see all this?
Well, I 100% agree. They both have their opinions, but I love the fact that everyone is stepping up and doing what's in the best interest of all of our health and safety. We don't know. We're going off of what these experts are telling us. What we do know is, as we're looking at casualties all around the world, and we're looking at cases pop up here and being confirmed right here in our own community every single day. As a matter of fact, another case was just confirmed here today. And so, listen, let me explain something to you. Whether you agree or disagree with either one of them, that's not the issue for me. I'm more concerned with what the real specialists and doctors and people out there who are showing us what's going on around the world. That's what's most important to me. And so I appreciate the fact our chairwoman, Marilyn Kirkpatrick, along with all of our Board of County Commissioners and our county manager, Yolanda King, we have said we're going to do what's in the best interest of Clark County. So as far as our services are concerned, essential and non-essential businesses, we have our essential businesses from business licensing to our Department of Family Services, our Department of Social Services. Those are essential businesses. Those are essential departments, that need to continue to run. There are other departments throughout Clark County. Many of those staff members can work remotely from home and continue on about the business of Clark County. It's about each of us taking care of each other, each of us stepping up to the plate. Who am I to tell my staff person while I'm at home, just kind of staying away from everything, but yet I'm making my staff go to work every single day and exposing them to whatever that is that's out there. We don't know if it's airborne or not.
We don't know a lot of.
We both have their own opinions. We both love them both. But, we got to do what's in the best interest of the people that surround us and that have put us in these offices. Let's put their health and safety first.
Well said, and I think they both certainly are in this for one reason. They care about the people here, not just in Las Vegas, but of course across the entire state and the country. Commissioner, I want to ask you one more question, and I guess it might be a loaded one, but right now, we have a pretty good listenership here at KDWN on this show. So you're speaking to a lot of people out there, the locals here in Las Vegas and in other areas. So as the commissioner here in Las Vegas, Mr. Weekly, talk to them right now. There's a lot of people that are scared. There's a lot of people that don't know what's going to come next, how they're going to get their next paycheck. There's a lot of people that are freaking out, for lack of a better term, and rightfully so. We've never had to experience anything like this before, at least I haven't. So I want you to speak to them right now. What would you say to the good people here in Las Vegas?
I'd say to the good people of Las Vegas and the great people of the state of Nevada, please, in the words of the governor, let's not panic. Let's prepare. Let's take care of each other. I am so concerned, gentlemen. My wife went to Smith's the other morning. We were out there at 6:30 a.m., and the line was wrapped around the building. And to see 60, 70, and 80-year-olds standing in line for water and their daily essentials, it pained my heart. Las Vegas, contrary to what so many people around the world who believe we all live in hotels, right?
Mm-hmm.
We are a very caring and giving community. Please, let's take care of each other. What frightens me the most is to learn that some elderly people were attacked coming out of a grocery store.
Oh, no.
It's absolutely nonsense.
Where did that happen?
And I believe, I heard it was somewhere at one of the Smiths off of Boulder.
Oh, that's terrible. That's awful.
But not only you can go in the grocery stores, there's no water, there's no toilet paper, there is no meat on the shelves. But I also have learned that you can't go to a gun store today and find a gun or bullets because people are afraid.
Right. Wow,
and
that's
so
scary.
We have to do a good job at making sure we take care of our neighbors. Make sure we do wellness checks on one another. Pick up the phone and call someone. There's a strong possibility they're going to answer the phone because we're all at home, right?
Yes, that's true.
Very
true. Very true.
On each other.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if it's just a matter of, hey guys, hey Sharp, hey Shapiro, how you doing? Are you okay? Do you need anything?
Right.
No, I'm good, Lawrence. All right, buddy. Have a great day. If you need me, call me. And then go on to the next person. Let's well check each other. And then at the end of the day, if we see something, pick up that doggone phone. Excuse me, to all my ladies out there, excuse me. You see something that doesn't look right, call the damn police because there's no room for nonsense. We understand that people are trying to survive, but we can do this thing. We can get through this by helping each other. And I'm so grateful to the both of you guys who love this community. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And we just thank you for continuing to love Las Vegas.
Appreciate that. Maybe not Wayne Allyn Root, but I think everybody else. Commissioner, I really appreciate what you do. Always appreciate it when you take some time to join us, especially during these difficult times. We'd love to have you on again down the road. Thank you so much. You guys are doing a great job. Keep up the great work. I support all of you, whether it's the mayor, whether it's the governor. You guys are really fighting for us, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Commissioner.
Thank you, gentlemen. You guys be safe. Love you guys. And, of course, we love our city. We love Las Vegas.
No question. That's never going to change. There you go. There it is. Lawrence Weekly,
Thanks a lot, Commissioner.
Clark County Commissioner, taking some time to join us. Really well said. You know, we have to, and what he said yesterday, I made calls to about 15 people, just talking about the crazy times that we're living in. Well, here's what I want to do. I want to take a break, and when we come back, your reaction to Commissioner Weekly, your reaction to our interview with Allyn Root. We also want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories, the trials and tribulations that you've had to go through. Maybe it's yourself, maybe it's one of your friends, maybe it's your family during this coronavirus scare. The number to call, 702-257-5396. Now's the time. We want to hear from you. Again, that number, 257-5396, and we will take your calls on the other side of the break. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Maybe you can relate to this. A lot of people think they're stuck with their health plan. It costs too much, or for whatever reason, they just don't like it. The great news, you are not stuck with it. There is a choice. It's called MediShare, and you could save so much. The typical savings for a family is $500 a month. Major difference maker. This is the affordable alternative to health insurance. And just to give you a little more info about MediShare, it's a Christian healthcare sharing ministry. It's worked beautifully for 26 years, has more than 400,000 members, and they've shared over $3 billion of each other's medical bills. So yes, they can help share your needs too. So you're not stuck. There's an excellent alternative, whether you're single or married, you got a family. MediShare is super flexible. You can choose an option that works for you and start saving lots of money. You can join anytime. They're great to talk to. No pressure. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6
You
p.m.
are a putz.
Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Johnny's our first caller.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro taking your phone calls right now at 702-257-5396. Again, that number, we want to hear from you, the trials and tribulations that you're going through right now, your personal stories. Maybe it's your job. Maybe you don't know where your next paycheck is going to be. You don't know how you're going to put food on the table. You can't find toilet paper. Whatever your personal situation is, this is your chance to have your voice heard, and we want to hear from you. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's start off with Johnny. Johnny, you're first up on the Vegas Take, sir. Thank you for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Johnny?
Pleasure. A very good show. JD, best to you and your family as well, all of you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I was going to call in and say that this isn't the first time that I'd ever, well, it was the first time I hadn't heard Wayne's voice when it was kind of like a horse, but I wanted, you know, after hearing Mr. Weekly, he just brought the good into me. I mean, he literally, there's a man right there on your radio station that is literal presidential material, and he's just a commissioner.
I'm glad you brought that up, Johnny, and I want to say this. You want to talk about opposite ends of the spectrum, huh? I mean, Mr. Weekly, what a great man.
I use some words of Mr. President Trump. I love you. You bring such great influence and weight to the people listening. It's just amazing.
Thank you, Johnny, for your phone call, and I know that Commissioner Weekly will appreciate those comments as well. Thank you for the phone
Thanks
call.
a lot, Johnny.
Yeah, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Ron. Ron, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Ron?
Hey, how are you guys, JD? It's me again. I left a message yesterday for Brian about mosquitoes. You know, that could also help spread even more. So I don't know if you got that yesterday, Brian, but anyway.
I'll be completely honest with you. It's not that I ignored your message. I didn't even see it. I haven't had time. I've been extremely busy, as we all have. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to make a promise to you, Ron. If you did send me that message through email or messenger, I will absolutely take a look at it today. I'll make that promise to you, okay?
Yeah, I called back, but I wanted to commend you. And like I told you yesterday, I'll never listen to Wayne Allyn Root again because of his fear-mongering. Okay? That was fear-mongering. It scared me.
Can I ask you a question? Did you hear our entire 30-minute interview?
I heard most of it. Yes, I did.
What did you think of that? What are your opinions on that? Because I just used his own words.
Well, you know that I'm Republican, but like I said, you had very good. I'm commending you. You did awesome, dude. You did awesome, and I like it because truly he frightened. He he really did scare me, and he doesn't know. The way he was talking was like, "Oh, this is we're never going to get our economy back." He doesn't know these things.
There's a lot of things he doesn't know.
And when you're talking to someone who has just lost their job or who is dealing with a lot of family issues, and when you have a following that size, and if he's a nationally syndicated radio host, and you are fear mongering, the things that you just described, that could be happening to literally hundreds of thousands of people across the country, and it just is not good for the country.
Yeah, but take his vitamins, because that'll definitely cure your coronavirus. Even though he's not a medical professional, it's just his opinion. Ron, we have a full board of calls, my friend, but I really do appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Call, Ron.
257-5396. Let's go to Clyde. Clyde, you're next up on the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Clyde?
Great show. This is the first time I ever heard your show. I want to a quick preface before I make my statement.
Sure.
Is that I've been in Vegas 18 years. The newspapers print a lot of my letters. I read the paper every day. Allyn Root, my degree is I'm a philosophy major. He never answered yes or no to your question.
You notice that? What does that say about somebody?
Yeah. Remember, I'm speaking from my knowledge. Like in philosophy, what they trained. Another thing, you asked him simple yes or no question. He never did, and he did something like my professors told me. Never let nobody change the subject. He kept changing the subject.
Yeah, I would talk about what he said, saying that, did you make the statement that everybody that's liberal is gay? And then he would totally change the subject, didn't want to address it.
It was constant diversion, and it actually ended up being a total implosion.
And then his only defense was, I've got 20,000 tweets. You're just picking 4 or 5 of them.
And you know what? He actually is a very smart guy. He went to Columbia University. He's very well educated. He's a smart guy.
Well, he didn't sound like it.
But he's clearly an entertainer, and some of the things he says to entertain his audience.
And another thing that, like I say, remember, I read the paper every day and read his comment, and he constantly always, I'm the first to do this, I'm the first to do that.
Yeah, and then I said, you were the first person to say Trump. I said, Michael Moore, the biggest liberal in the world, is the one that picked Trump to win. Notice how he didn't respond to that. He just laughed. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, we appreciate your phone call. Thank you. We're glad you're a first-time listener, and we hope you will. We hope you will continue to listen, Clyde, and spread the word. Thank you for those kind words. Let's go to Elle. Elle, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Elle?
Good morning, guys. Let me just say quickly, Brian, that was your best interview ever. For those of us who need comic relief, you provided it, and that goes at the top of the list for me. That was hilarious.
Thank you, Elle. We appreciate that.
I loved it. So yesterday I was perfectly fine when I talked to you, but like everybody else, I'm unemployed and love to play a little live poker when I can. I was looking forward to the Sahara's new poker room and didn't get to do it. However, I decided late in the evening, nothing to do. I said, well, I'm going to take a walk around the park, and I went to, I think it's Spring Mountain in Durango. Really nice park. And now, for some reason, I'm sick. I have a cold. You think it's coronavirus?
No. Let me tell you what I had. Listen, I don't know for sure, Elle. I'm not a doctor. I can tell you last week I had a minor cold. I had the sniffles and felt good in a couple days. No fever, no headache. But here's the dangerous thing, Elle, that I will say, and this is not my opinion. These are doctors. Everybody has different symptoms. You don't have to have a fever to have the coronavirus. Our producer has had a cold the last couple days. We don't know what we have. What I know is that I'm feeling better today, and I never felt bad enough to have to go into the hospital. That's all I know, Elle.
Yeah, I just got the sniffles, so I'm going to, should I go and stock up on vitamin C?
No, here's what I think you should do. And again, I'm not a doctor. Drink a lot of fluids, drink a lot of water. The second you have a fever, you need to go to the hospital, okay? If you don't have a fever and you're feeling okay and you actually feel like your symptoms are not getting worse, then I think you'll be okay.
And especially if you have shortness of breath with a fever,
correct.
Then you need to rush to the hospital.
Correct. That's another symptom that.
I'm great, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Elle. We appreciate that.
Yeah, great call.
Yes, I forgot about JD. You're right. I forgot about the breathing because that's another very dangerous symptom. Mostly seen, correct me if I'm wrong, with older people, but that's what this virus can do to you. That's why some of the elderly are getting so sick, and unfortunately some of them are passing away.
Well, what it does is the virus, it basically floods your lungs, and what happens is it's called a cytokine storm, which your immune system has an overreaction and it just kind of just shreds your lungs apart from the inside and turns into a very severe pneumonia. It ends up being called acute respiratory distress syndrome, which is called ARDS. And once that happens, if your immune system is already immunocompromised or suppressed, then you have a very good chance of dying even with a ventilator.
Yep. So here's what we're going to do. This entire next segment, we're going to hear from you. I know phone lines are full, but please keep trying. We're going to take as many calls as we can next segment. That number is 702-257-5396. Again, that number, if you want to be a part of the program, is 257-5396. We're going to get to all your calls on the other side of the break, and here's what we want to know. Personal stories. How are you feeling? How is this affecting you and your family? How is it affecting your employment? Also, reaction to the Allyn Root interview. We're certainly getting a lot of reaction from that. A lot of positive. Haven't heard any negative from it, only from Wayne. But we will take all your calls on the other side of the break. So join us again, 257-5396. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. You are listening to The Vegas Take.
Special report coronavirus update. Is the U.S. ready to impose tight restrictions on work and travel nationwide?
So no, we're working with the governors, and I don't think we'll ever find that necessary.
New York and California are
haven't
imposing
been in the
bans
building,
on
not even allowed in the
non-essential work
building.
and travel as both states ramp up testing that reveals a wide
What am I
presence
supposed
of
to
the
do?
virus in those states. Congress is debating
Jeff
the
Anderson's
scope
probably
of
not
a
even in the
$1 trillion
building.
stimulus, as we hear from correspondent Manu Rogers.
Proposal is $1 trillion. It does have direct payments.
All right, well, I've been a little busy.
Individuals, people who make up to $99,000 a year, individuals
I know, but
get
priorities,
some
man.
form of payment that most people would get would be $1,200 to individual taxpayers, and after $75,000 mark,
Well,
would decrease.
but here's the thing,
The
dude. We've
president
already
says the
got
U.S. and
how many
Mexico will
markets secured
sharply
on the one
curtail
demo we gave them?
cross-border travel to
Okay, well,
reduce
they can
the
wait
spread of the
forever.
virus, and the EU is investigating fake medical and personal protection
go do it all
products on the
yourself.
market. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
I know, but I'm also producing a show, and I've been sick.
This report sponsored by Upwork,
That is
where
not
you
a
need
priority.
in-demand talent on demand.
They've
The
already
road
got
closure
20
in Warm
markets.
Springs
I mean,
Road still
they can-
closed at Spencer for
sorry,
an
man, I
ongoing
haven't
accident
seen that.
investigation. In the meantime, use an alternate
It's
get around like Sunset or Winter.
2 minutes out.
Also watch for slowing for a traffic hazard that was reported on I-15
host
southbound
having
at
to call me
Sahara
putts.
that may be debris on the freeway.
Yeah.
Upwork has the world's largest network
And he-
of
and he did
independent
exactly to
professionals
me
like designers,
what he
developers,
complained about
data
me doing to him.
scientists, you name it. When you need in-demand
Gotta do
talent
upload.
on demand,
Once you
Upwork
started-
is
because you
how.
started it
I'm
slow,
John
and you
Michaels
started
from the
hitting
KDON
Yeah.
Traffic Center.
Warning, this product contains
thought you were
nicotine.
younger-
Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
I'm always prepared.
Whether
for
you
people
enjoy
like that.
classical,
I don't think
rock,
LMA has someone that's going to
or heavy metal,
She said she does.
we all
Who said
march to
that?
the beat of our own
What do you
drummer
think I should have known
or
about that?
guitarist.
She's texting
That's
like
why Views Also offers you more ways to vape your way. It's available in 5 bold color options, 3 smooth tastes, and 3 nicotine levels. It's your vape,
That was so
your
good. I'll
way.
even send that to
Views,
myself.
charge beyond. Underage sale prohibited.
You just destroyed it.
Some boats can take you anywhere you want to go. Other boats help you get huge hang time. But only a Yamaha boat lets you do it all at once. From the entry-level 19-foot series to the power-packed wake series to the luxurious 275 series, Yamaha makes boats that unlock all the possibilities on the water. Get out in the sunshine
He didn't
and
think
on
I
the
knew all
water.
that stuff about
Schedule
him.
your stop by the Boating Lake Mead showroom on Boulder Highway. More information at boatinglakemead.com.
But I destroyed it.
I'm Dave Mizrahi, owner of Best Mattress.
Look
I'm
this
waiting
weekend.
tough times out here at home, and I hope you're all safely doing
Oh,
the same
boy.
with those you love. So keep your spirits up.
At the
We'll see you
perfect
in a
time,
few
though, he
weeks.
hung up because we only
Sleep
had about a
easy, friends.
minute.
Mark
Here we
Levine,
go.
weekdays
Henry,
3
right?
p.m. to 6 p.m.
Henry.
Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. Glad you could join us on a Friday. And by the way, coming up here in hour number 3, the fun continues. A man by the name of Chris Janetsky. He bought 48 boxes of toilet paper by accident before this coronavirus thing happened. Well, now's a good time to have that much toilet paper. He'll be joining us in hour number 3 along with the Hollywood conservative, Mr. X. But we're taking your phone calls now, 702-257-5396. We want to hear your personal stories, your trials and tribulations when it comes to this coronavirus. We all got them, right, folks? Let's hear from you. Let's start off with Henry. Henry, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good, Henry. What's on your mind? How are you dealing with this?
Well, this is kind of,
it's sad to see what's going on in the city. You know, I'm not a Vegas native. I've been here in Vegas for 2 years. I've been working. You know, it's kind of hard. For the past couple months, I've been living out my car, but I've been trying to get work. You know, and there's this agency that I work for that they've been helping out getting me work mostly every day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the jobs been canceled, man. It's like I was supposed to work yesterday, got canceled out.
Henry, what did you say you did for work, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I work for an agency. It's called People Ready.
Okay. So it's an office job? It's an office job?
Well, we do everything from general labor to
So,
hospitality.
gotcha. So are you worried where you're going to get your next paycheck?
Yeah, man, because it's like, you know, we do have to pay insurance. You know, I do have to pay insurance for my car.
Right, of course.
You know
We all do,
I do
yeah.
have to pay for other stuff, and it's hard right now. You know, and it's like, especially, you know, when you already...
Oh, yeah, and by the way, I do appreciate the phone call. You are not alone, my friend. We are all there with you. We are all struggling. We all, not all of us, but many of us don't know when we're getting our next paycheck. We're all worried. We're all scared. Henry, you're not alone, my friend. And just keep this in mind. You know, the politicians, I'm going to try to have faith in them that they're going to get this done for us, and you're going to be okay, my friend. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Rosalie. Rosalie, you are next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Rosalie?
Well, I am a third-generation native Nevadan, and I learned from my grandfather, Senator Lamb, and my uncle, Ralph Lamb, that sometimes you got to step up and say things and do things, even in tough times, because it takes a team to create solutions for big, massive problems. I really appreciate some of the things that have been said, and I am a little concerned.
Yeah, you're not alone.
And no, I'm not alone. And well, I am alone. Well, I'm not alone. We're all in this together. And have been asked to run for different offices for some time. I've tried to avoid running for politics because I've seen a good quote in my family as we've seen politics make good man bad and bad man worse.
Well, you make a good point there, but you know what and by the way, Rosalie, I do appreciate the phone call. I got to get to some other callers, but politics is a very difficult and dangerous job, I guess you could say. If you have any skeletons in the closet, they're eventually probably going to come out, but you sound like a smart lady.
Maybe in her case, politics can keep a good woman good.
Keep yourself safe. We appreciate the phone call. 257-5396. Let's go to James. James, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, James?
All right, get rid of this guy. I don't know why he's replaying something that I said. That sounded like me. And listen,
I believe that was you.
When you call into the show,
it actually sounded really good. Well done.
I sound great. I have a very sexy voice, by the way. Okay, listen, ladies and gentlemen, when you call into the show, keep your radios down and please be ready to go because we're doing rapid fire. We got a lot of people on hold. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Hello.
Yeah, Steve, you're live with us. Go ahead.
Hi, guys. Hey, I just want to congratulate you both for exposing this guy for what he really is, a phony and a fraud and a liar.
Who are you talking about? I forgot. Hold on. I forgot who you're talking about. Can you say who you're talking about?
Okay, Wayne Allyn Root.
Thank you.
Loud and clear.
Thank you.
And that's Allyn with a Y, not an A, right?
I thought you were talking about our producer, Jason Stein. I just wanted to make sure you were talking about Wayne.
I didn't make anybody nervous. By the way, Lawrence Weekly, I agree with him. I'm just quick. Let's all show love, respect, and consideration and not be stealing from each other this time when things are rough. He's absolutely right, and I commend him for what he said. Now, let me just say this. The Public Library of Science, they have a thing called meta-analysis. If you look up colloidal silver, they'll give you a conclusion of many authoritative, validated scientific sources. Here's their conclusion. It has no known health benefits.
Bingo. Bingo. But let me ask you something. Let me respond to that, and I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. When you have a national platform, and sadly he does, and when you go on your social media page and you say that it believes it kills the virus, how does anybody not say to him, you got to be a little bit more responsible with your tweets? That's what I don't understand.
The problem is he's nothing but a two-bit snake oil salesman who hustles people and knowingly promotes things. I really believe he's related to Alex Jones. He doesn't have He loves to lie. And I'm glad you exposed him for what he is. You did the public a great service. Great performance, you know?
I appreciate that. Hey.
Honestly, that was an outstanding interview by Brian. I think Brian is one of the best interviewers in the country as it is, but he completely destroyed Wayne Allyn Root in that interview.
By the way, on another note, I wish my dates would say wonderful performance. I've never heard that from them.
That is never going to happen. That's not your fault.
Wait a second. How do you know that? You've never seen me naked before. Anyway, we appreciate the phone call. Thank you for those kind words. We do appreciate that. You know,
We heard things.
I'm also, listen, one thing I'll always do on the show is be honest. You heard things. Screw you, Stein. But anyway, let's take another call. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Davis. Davis, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Davis?
Thanks, guys. I called yesterday about the WHO and what they said on the 14th. I don't know if you had a chance to look that up, but I think that the main question now is how long are the American people willing to be in lockdown?
Exactly, and that's that. I would ask myself the same thing after.
I mean, who in the world would wait 18 months?
Right. After a couple of weeks, people are going to be asking themselves, is losing my livelihood, in which case that's your job, as well as my hobbies and pretty much everything I like to do, worth saving 1% of the population that could die of this virus? That I believe that question will be asked by a lot of people in the next coming weeks. Well, let me ask, and we'll see how the response. We'll see what the response is.
Let me ask this caller: how long do you think this is going to last?
Well, I think they're looking for 2 weeks. They're looking for it to spike pretty quick, but I'm not sure it will because it's spreading everywhere. Hopefully, spring or summer will help. I mean, temperatures do decline the flu virus. Maybe it'll do the same.
Well, and not only that, I think that.
Weeks. How long do you think?
Well, I'll answer that by saying I think minimum 1 month, like what the governor said. I think at minimum we're going to be dealing with this for a month. Now, if you're talking about sports like the NBA, the NHL, several months. I think it'll be several months before we actually have large gatherings like concerts. But my question is, if we can't have large gatherings in a month, how can you open up a casino? I appreciate the phone call. It's a very, very, very good question. And sadly, I don't have the answer to it. I'm just giving you my opinion on it. Let's go to Lance. I believe Lance is next on the Vegas Take. What's going on, Lance?
Hey, what's up, Lance?
Wow, Brian. This is Ward. Let's get to the Wayne Allyn Root beer, the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to say this, your interview with Commissioner Weekly, wow, what a great American he is. And, we've got Vegas strong, and I'm an independent creative. I wrote a song called LV Love Las Vegas. What do you think of that slogan?
Can you play it and sing it for us right now?
I like it.
You want me to sing?
Absolutely.
Go right now.
Let's roll.
The floor is yours, my friend. Go ahead, Lance.
LV, what are we gonna do? LV, what are we gonna do? LV, what are we gonna do? LV, we're gonna remain true to you. LV, love Las Vegas. LV, we love Vegas. LV, love Las Vegas. LV, we love you. LV, what are we gonna
Wow, that is, I am impressed.
Really, really good.
Good job. Good job.
It's a solid jig.
I tell you, I put you on the spot there. I'm very impressed, my friend. Let me tell you something, okay? You got a little bit of the music in the background too, the guitar. I like it. Listen, let me tell you something. And by the way, I appreciate the call. When we're allowed to be back in studio, and when things calm down a little bit, I am going to offer you an invitation to come in our studio and play that song for us. Okay? I hope that sounds good to you.
And make sure that you hold him to that.
Yeah, I will. That was
just don't just say stuff on it.
You want to talk about a performance? That was a performance.
Yes, it was.
Tears to my eyes.
702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Doug. Doug, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey,
what's up, Doug?
Good.
What's up, Doug?
Hey, you're discovering talent on your show. That's great.
Yes, that's right.
Vegas got talent.
A couple of comments. I'm an Uber driver. Rides are down, but I'm still making money. So I wouldn't say putting myself on the front line. I disinfect my car. I wear a mask. So
can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question about the Uber driving, if that's okay? So you're not allowed to have, more than 2 people in your vehicle? What are the rules now?
Well, pool rides are no longer have been suspended. Now, if somebody requests a ride for them and their friend, that's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, you can't do pool rides.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So how are you dealing with this situation?
I used to go out and drive around for rides. Now I just find myself, I park in parking lots until rides come up.
Wow.
I figure not waste the gas.
Aren't you worried though? I mean, aren't you worried? You got all these strangers that are getting in your car, and who knows what they may or may not have. Does that concern you?
To some degree, yes. But I mean, every time someone gets out of my car, I disinfect the handles, the seat belts. I'm in pretty good health. I take vitamins. Hopefully that will help. But I'm also a Christian. I've got faith, and if it's my time, it's my time.
Gotcha.
I heard a great quote the other day. You can live with fear, or you can live with faith.
Right.
Choose faith.
Well, then that's a very good point. I think that people stressing out about possibly getting this virus and how their life is adversely affected from it, that could actually make you more sick and drop your immune system and make you more susceptible to getting the virus. So having a positive attitude is very necessary, especially during these trying times.
Appreciate the phone call. Glad you're still able to work. Glad you're still able to make money, my friend, and we appreciate that call. 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Bo. Bo, you're next up on the Vegas Take.
Hey, what's up, Bo?
Hey, I just want to bring up that topic that I mentioned yesterday about the Harvard professor that was arrested and the Chinese national that were arrested at the airport with the biological substance.
Yes, sir.
In December. There's been some more developments, and this is just things I've been observing on the news media. So I'd like others, to hear their input, including yours. And initially they said that this virus didn't cause diarrhea. Now they're saying the students in the Wuhan University, the same university that they were headed to with this biological substance from our country, they got caught at the airport with it. They're saying, well, now that this virus can be transmitted through feces, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
How is all this going down, and how are we not being informed about what happened at that airport, what was in those vials, a biological substance, how the University of Wuhan, which specializes in infectious diseases, is not being brought up in the topics of what's going on here.
And you're totally right. The new studies have come out that about 50% of patients that have the coronavirus experience diarrhea and gastrointestinal syndromes, which was not the case, or symptoms, which was not the case a couple weeks ago. But yeah, that's just a matter of how it's reported. I don't see it really changing.
What's your excuse?
That sounds like
totally fine.
That sounds like the kind of symptoms I get after I go to some of these cheap buffets in Las Vegas. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. We want to hear your reaction to the Wayne Allyn Root interview that we did. Lawrence Weekly, boy, two opposite ends of the spectrum, what they're saying about Lawrence Weekly, which, by the way, I agree with, and Wayne Allyn Root. Let's go to Joel. Joel, you are next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Joel?
Good morning, guys. Good news, Brian.
What's
Wayne
up?
Allyn Root has been fired by the RJ.
I did not know that.
I was just listening to another radio station, and he was on with the host, who you probably know, and he was whining and complaining that the RJ made this huge mistake by letting him go, and he was begging the audience to write to the editor of the RJ to have him come back.
Well, I'll tell people to write to the editor of the RJ and have them listen to our interview first before they do so.
Well, regardless, the fact of the matter is people were listening to what you did and what you said and how he responded, and they acted accordingly. So congratulations.
So hold on a second. You're saying that he was fired within the last hour?
That's correct.
So you're saying that there's a possibility that Wayne Allyn is no longer working for the RJ because of our interview that we just did an hour ago?
Well, that sounds logical to me.
All right.
Why else would they fire him so quickly?
That's fair enough. That could be certainly a possibility. And you know what? I don't feel one bit sorry for him. He buried his own grave as far as I'm concerned.
And that doesn't surprise me.
He deserves everything he gets.
What did you think? Joel, did you hear the entire interview we did?
Yes, I did.
What did you make of that interview? What were you think the most important parts of that interview to you that resonate?
Well, the fact that he wouldn't answer a question directly. And, I'm 65. I've been around the block a few times, and he reminds me of the snake oil type salespeople who try and sell you on swampland in Florida, or
right.
on buying this great used car where the wheels are falling off. But no, it's not a problem. We can take care of it for you.
Or how about even better yet? Like the guy from InfoWars who says the mass shooting in Connecticut where all these kids died didn't happen.
Well, they're all cowards.
Yeah.
They're all cowards who don't deserve the ear of the public.
You're right, but according to me, according to him, I'm the putz, though. I'm the putz. That's what he said.
Well, yeah, and the big issue is if he's getting compensated by whoever makes these type of silver products or colloidal silver or alkaline silver or whatever it is, if that's the case, and he is saying that it literally cures the coronavirus, getting compensated for it, knowing that it doesn't.
Hey, I'll give you one better.
That's a real issue.
I'll give you one better. How about him who says that the N-word is comparable to calling somebody old?
Well, and then he says he's 58, but he's in great shape.
Yeah.
But he's had people, he looks young, but he's had people that have told him that he should die of stomach cancer.
I'll tell you what's getting old. The conspiracy theorist himself. That's what's getting old, and I'm glad that we were able to expose that on the air. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Brady. Brady, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Brady?
Brady, are you there? Did we lose you?
Hello, Brady.
He's good. He's good.
Brady, you're next on. Yeah, go ahead, Brady. You're on. Go ahead.
Yeah, you were speaking about digestive issues earlier, and I just got the last double roll of toilet paper at Target. I scored.
So how were you able to do that? Explain to us how you were able to do that, Brady, because I hear it's a tall task.
I walked in, I went to the back, I said, "Where's your TP?" And they were putting it on the shelf, and there was like one left, literally one left, and I was like, right on.
I think we can have some common ground here, Brady. Would you agree that these people that walk into these supermarkets or Target and buy $200 worth of toilet paper are a little bit crazy and selfish?
I think they were almost like a prophecy, or because they knew that this thing caused diarrhea, so they stocked up beforehand.
that could be possible. Well, Brady, I appreciate your phone call. I'm glad you were able to get toilet paper, and I'm glad you have something to wipe. I'm glad you don't have to use any T-shirts or anything like that.
Brady. That was a really, really good call for Brady.
By the way, a guy we have on coming up at 11:30, his name is Chris Janetsky. He bought 48 boxes of toilet paper by accident before the coronavirus scare happened. Boy, he struck gold. He really did. We'll talk to him coming up in a little bit. 257-5396. Let's go to Joe. Joe, you are next up on the Vegas Take. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Joe?
I'm great, guys. Thanks for staying online, out on the radio and bringing us all this information in regards to what's going on in our country. Brian, I tell you, man, when I heard that Uber driver talking about, his faith, that made me want to call you and tell you guys that that's what we're missing here. You know what I'm saying? These people that are buying up toilet paper that you're talking about, I've been trying to figure it out. What does toilet paper have to do with a respiratory illness or disease? And I can't figure it out. And then I thought to myself, rather than saying exactly what I thought, I'm just going to tell you, shirt for brains.
I agree with you, and to not to make light of this situation, but I will say this. When I use the toilet and somebody goes in there after me, they have respiratory issues. That's all I'm going to say. But listen, in all seriousness, I get what you're saying. There's a lot more serious things out there that are going on with this coronavirus than, people not being able to buy toilet paper. I agree with that sentiment, and I appreciate that, and we all need to remember that, Joe. So thank you very much. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Tom. Tom, you are next up on the Vegas Take.
Did you say Thomas?
Thomas, go ahead, my friend.
Yes, I heard your conversation earlier this morning about the Easter lily.
I'm sorry, about who?
You were having a conversation this morning about the Easter lily?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Is that a flower? Is that
talking about the Easter lily, the flower?
No, we're not talking about a flower, but you can tell us what it is. I don't know. I don't know. What is an Easter?
I thought it was your station that I heard it.
No.
The Easter lily has the exact opposite chemical properties of a cell.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a message for biologists to go examine how that relates to dealing with some of the 50 trillion cells that are in the body.
Okay, gotcha.
Because if what I say I know about it, it would be like one of those salesmen.
Well, I
went to Walmart.
Yes.
The other day.
Okay.
In a case of Corona.
Okay.
And flaxseed. Because if I grind flaxseed fresh every day and drink it with a big glass of water, it's probably the best food on the market to deal with the immune system.
Well, listen, let me be clear. Listen, if you're doing something that you think works for you, all the power to you.
Did you go to Whole Foods to buy this, or where'd you buy it from?
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I don't know.
Whether that guy was pranking us or he was listening to a really boring radio show.
Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, let's do 30 minutes on the Easter lily.
Actually, kind of interesting.
You like that kind of stuff.
Easter lily, right?
Who do we have next, Stein, on the line?
It looks like Eddie, I believe.
Eddie, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Eddie?
Yeah, it looks like Sheldon Adelson's Review Journal just dumped Wayne Allyn Root as a what do you call it, independent contractor columnist. Did you know that?
We just got a phone call a few calls ago that said the same thing. I don't know if that has anything to do with that interview we just did, but that certainly would not surprise me.
Yeah, well, Adelson, you know, his wife's sort of in healthcare in some respects. So I mean, it might make them.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And whatever. I was in Japan back in 1980, and they had these pachinko parlors, these little pinball machines, and they had a robot coming down and cleaning the glass, replenishing the little pachinko balls, and emptying the ashtrays. So if Vegas ever gets back to normal, more robots, more automation, more self-service, and less employees. And I hate to be a pessimist, but I think that's going to be the trend. They're probably bring back half the people, and it's going to be another change in the economy. I think Weekly was being optimistic.
Well, I mean, listen, he doesn't. It's okay to be optimistic, but it's also, and by the way, I appreciate the call. It's also important to be fair, and I think Weekly is doing both of those things, and I think he's doing a good job. My favorite part about that interview is when he said, "Look, the mayor disagrees with the governor, and that's okay. As long as we disagree, but we're both on the same common ground that we want to help people." You know, these politicians, some of them, that are dropping their stock and telling one thing to the public last month and then dropping their stock the same day are scumbags. No. I mean, what else are they?
Burr should absolutely do time.
It's no question.
100%.
I hope he does, JD. 702-257-5396. I won't be buying any stock into that flour anytime soon, or that silver that Wayne Allyn Root is talking about. 702-257-5396. Let's go to Bob. Bob, you're next up on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bob?
Hi. Yeah, I'd like to get something straight. Wayne Allyn Root was saying to take this colloidal silver.
Yes, he was.
Silver?
He was, yes.
That's insane. I mean, that was a fad maybe about 30 years or so ago.
Yep.
And it actually turns people's skin blue. I saw a person on TV one time who took massive doses of this, and his skin was permanently changed. Yeah.
Bob, if I may, let me...
I just think he's a large fan of the Smurfs.
Bob, if I may, let me read the tweet that started this whole thing yesterday when I was criticizing him. This is his tweet. He said, "If I ever get the coronavirus, I'd use massive intravenous vitamin C plus massive doses of alkaline structured silver. Kills virus and inexpensive. Major success in South Korea, already using massive intravenous vitamin C." That is his entire tweet. I read it to our audience, and he said I took it out of context.
Wow. Now, the vitamin C, that may actually help. There was a famous Nobel laureate chemist
by the
name of Linus Pauling who made vitamin C kind of like a everyday common term and what everybody takes. But colloidal silver, it will actually turn your skin blue. It's very dangerous.
No, listen, but honestly, the IV it's dangerous. No, the vitamin C through an IV is factual.
But that's not all he said.
Of course, right. But adding the silver onto it, right? Adding the silver onto it is it makes you wonder why someone would do that, unless I would assume there would be some type of compensation structure in place, which again makes it even worse.
John Ralston of the Nevada Independent, we believe we know him. He was one of the moderators at that debate that was in Vegas. He is saying he is hearing reports that Wayne Allyn Root has in fact been fired by the Review Journal. That's what he's putting on.
Good. And you know what? I don't always commend the Review Journal, but I will in this situation. You don't want a right-wing conspiracy theorist who proved that on this show today, writing for your newspaper. It's okay to have opinions, but to be as irresponsible as he was and proved it on our show, kudos to the Review Journal for doing the right thing.
Actually, I want to just correct that real quick. He's been tagged in a post. Las Vegas locally is actually telling John Ralston that Wayne Allyn Root has been fired. So John Ralston is going to look into that. He's a very good journalist.
Well,
but that is the word online.
All right, we got to take a quick break. And when we come back at the top of the hour, it'll be the Hollywood conservative, Mr. X. He lives out there in California. How is he dealing with the California shutdown? That and much more when we come back. You are listening to The Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
Every day, Doctors Without Borders teams confront hard facts in conflict and crisis zones. When others might look away, we step in to act. Because measles still kills more than 100,000 children every year. We're there to vaccinate over 1 million worldwide, including those affected by the current outbreak in Democratic Republic of Congo. Because half of all maternal deaths occur during delivery or within 24 hours. We've assisted more than 1.4 million births around the world, including care for new mothers in Afghanistan. Because some countries only have 1 or 2 mental health professionals, we offer counseling and clinical care, providing over 400,000 mental health consultations worldwide last year, including care for migrants and refugees on the dangerous journey north from Central America. The fact is, your acts of care and compassion make our life-saving work possible. Picture the impact we can have together. DoctorsWithoutBorders.org.
Your home for Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas, KKLZ HD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
Need for medical equipment.
The ventilators are to this war what missiles were to World War II, right? Rosie the Riveter, we need ventilators.
In an effort to beat out the competition, Cuomo today promised a premium to companies that are able to make ventilators, masks, gloves, gowns, and the like. President Trump.
My message to the American people is that there is a very low incidence of death. You understand that. And we're going to come through this stronger than ever before.
The lowest number of passengers ever recorded at U.S. airports being reported by the TSA, 624,000 people yesterday through checkpoints, a 75% decline. I'm Mike Moss. President Trump says he's not inclined to do what the governors of New York and California have done, banning all essential work and travel. The NIH's Dr. Anthony Fauci.
You take a look at what's going on in China, and you see what's going on right now in Italy, and what's happening in New York City. I don't think with any moral conscience you could say, why don't we just let it rip and happen and let X percent of the people die? I don't understand that reasoning at all.
The Department of Education will not enforce standardized testing requirements for students in elementary through high schools for the current year. It is also suspending, for now, student loan payments. The U.S. is now banning all non-essential travel, barring trade, along the southern and the northern borders of the nation. On Wall Street, stocks are in decline again. The Dow is off 179, S&P down 26 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Lerner Road Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Upwork, when you need in-demand talent on demand. Police conducting an investigation into a serious crash that has closed Warm Springs Road at Spencer. Expect delays in the area or take an alternate route to avoid the closure like Sunset or Windmill. Roadwork continues on Las Vegas Boulevard, north and southbound, north of Sahara to before Oakey Boulevard. Expect delays. Lane restrictions are taken alternate like Industrial or Maryland Parkway. Meanwhile, no slowing to report. I-15 north and southbound looks good between the Spaghetti Bowl and Southern Beltway. Upwork has the world's largest network of independent professionals like designers, developers, data scientists, you name it. When you need in-demand talent on demand, Upwork is how. John Michaels from the KDAWN Traffic Center.
Get the rest you deserve with Helix Sleep. Helix makes personalized mattresses to fit your unique body type and sleep preferences and give you the best sleep of your life. Go to helixsleep.com and get up to $200 off mattress orders.
JD here from the Vegas Take. I've been renting for a while now, and I'm getting closer to buying, but I'm concerned about all the hidden and surprise fees I've heard my friends had when buying. I just read this news story on Homey and was very curious. You should check them out yourselves at HOMIE.com. Homey is new and different and can save
save buyers and sellers thousands of dollars. Homey provides experienced local agents with the tech they need to save you time and money. For my friends selling a home, you just pay a low flat rate of $2,500 once it sells, regardless of the price of your home, and be able to take advantage of the tech Homey provides. Plus, get this, my friends at Homey are really stepping up, and they're offering a special promo to KDWN Vegas Take listeners. You'll get $250 off your listing fee when you sell your house. Just text JD to 88588. That's $250 off your listing fee when you sell your house. Text JD to 88588 for more information. Homey.com. Make sure you get the money that you deserve when you sell your house.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Whether you enjoy classical, rock, or heavy metal, we all march to the beat of our own drummer or guitarist. That's why Views also offers you more ways to vape your way. It's available in 5 bold color options, 3 smooth tastes, and 3 nicotine levels. It's your vape, your way. Views, charge beyond.
No, it's not. That's
under sale premium.
Join Coach Harvey Hyde and Chuck Hayes Saturday evening from 9 to 10 p.m. for Trojan Football Report, presented by Southpoint Hotel and Casino, here on 101.5 FM and 720 AM KDWN, where Las Vegas comes to talk.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6
How
p.m.
about crowds being
Now
empty
back
at
to the
sporting
Vegas
events?
Take on
That's 2 weeks old.
101.5 FM, 720 AM. KDWN.
He just doesn't get it, dude.
The
He's just-
opinions
Alex
of the
is
hosts
just
on
not- it's not a good fit
KDWN
for
are
him.
their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, its management, or Beasley Media Group.
Here we are. We're back.
Right
Drew's
now,
got other talents,
the
just saying that.
biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro rolling out the red carpet for hour number 3 from my kitchen, by the way. The reason for that is, and by the way, if you don't believe us, go ahead and go on our YouTube page and subscribe to the Vegas Take page. We're on YouTube now also. The reason is because the building the studios that we are in at Beasley Broadcasting are currently in lockdown right now, as many others are as well. So that is the reason why we are broadcasting from our kitchen, or from my kitchen right now, where I don't do a lot of cooking, by the way. But a lot of stuff going on throughout the country in regards to the coronavirus, particularly in California, where Gavin Newsom put this law into effect. We have a California shutdown. It's official. It is officially against the law if you're going to drive and have a party or go anywhere unless it's out of necessity. So the guy joining us on the line right now, we love having him on every week to talk politics, but I'm not sure that's going to be the conversation today. He is the Hollywood conservative. We call him Mr. X because he is a hotshot producer out there in L.A., but he's a conservative and he doesn't want to be outed for that, sadly. He joins us right now on the line. Mr. X, what do you think about this California shutdown, man?
Well, first of all, I just have this vision of you guys. I'm envisioning like Wayne's World, like you guys in the basement,
Ironic.
casting the show. But what do I think of the shutdown? Well, I'm so upset about it that this morning I walked down to my local coffee shop and got an iced tea and a bagel, and there were other people down there, and then after that I went and walked my dog. So that's generally how I feel about it. But in all seriousness, I know you didn't want to talk politics, but are we at a point now where we can honestly say that Newsom is the worst governor in the United States?
Well, you know a lot more about him than I, so I'll take your word for it.
Sadly, I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine you don't agree?
No, and I'm actually surprised you guys even wanted to have me on. There's really nothing going on in the media right now. It's kind of a boring time. Like, there's just not much happening.
Well, there is some things happening, and we will get to that, especially this Imagine video. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a few minutes. But I want to get your thoughts on just, again, I know you disagree with it, but these are unprecedented times that we're living in right now. As you know, Mr. X, right here in Las Vegas, all the casinos are shut down. It's wild. It's crazy. And in California, I can't even imagine how many people are losing money and losing business, whether you own a business or whether you're working at one of these businesses. I mean, these are really scary times we're living in, and now you can't even leave your house unless it's out of necessity for a job, if you're lucky enough to still be working, or to a pharmacy or to a supermarket. I mean, what do you make of that? That's scary.
It's crazy. I mean, I talk to JD often privately via the old DMs on Facebook, and we discuss it at length, and honestly, I'm almost tired of discussing it. It's so stupid. Like, in my opinion, this is going to go down in history as one of the biggest overreactions in the history of mankind. I mean, I just my opinion is that the response in contrast with what this virus actually is so vastly overstated, and it's insane. Like the economic tumult that this is causing right now is so much worse than getting the flu. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys know who Paul Schrader is. He's a pretty famous director. He actually was obviously the guy who wrote Taxi Driver, and he recently did that movie with Ethan Hawke, First Reformed, and was shooting a film right now, and it got shut down because of this nonsense.
Right.
And his response was, "Why? I don't want to shut down." He's like, "I'd rather get this disease than shut down. Like, that's fine." He's like, "I would die for my art. Like, I don't care." And I kind of feel the same to an extent, especially because I'm not going to die, and most people who get this aren't. And I just think that the media scare tactics right now with regard to this are so absurd, and the way that honestly Trump has mismanaged this, but in his defense, I think he's under a lot of pressure from the wildly corrupt CDC and WHO. So, I mean, it's honestly just the whole thing is a giant poop show.
So Mr. X, Gavin Newsom last night, not only did he declare the lockdown for 1 month, but he also stated that if he had to institute martial law, he would. And I don't think I've heard a governor say that. I mean, and definitely not in my lifetime. But how would that even be possible in a state like California with 50 million people? I mean, I feel like that would cost trillions of dollars. Yeah, I think you'd have to take the majority of the military, definitely the National Guard, and put them in that one. I mean, I feel like when he makes statements like that, he's not thinking about the actual, hard logistics behind it. And when you hear your governor say something like that, how does it make you feel?
Well, remember what I said at the Open where I asked if this is the worst governor in the country? I mean, legitimately an idiotic thing to say. Like, you cannot institute martial law in Los Angeles. And I'm not saying that just because, like, no, you can't do this. It's not right. No, you can't. Like, there's too many people here. It's too big. Like, what are you going to do? Seriously.
All right, but I have to ask you this, Mr. X.
So much money.
And it's not just LA, it's LA, San Francisco, San Diego, Sacramento. Yeah, you have so many people there.
Right, and my biggest issue, honestly, with what he said, and I've seen a couple of governors do this, and a couple of politicians, and it's driving me crazy, is he had this statement during it where he said, I think that 23 million people in California are going to get this disease.
Yeah, in the next 8 weeks.
What are you basing that on? Like that saying that just makes dumb.
Okay, but
isn't that kind of a form of fear mongering as well?
Hold on a second, guys. Okay, hold on a second, guys. There are healthcare professionals throughout the country, some that even work in the Trump administration, that are saying it is not out of the realm of possibility that somewhere in the next several months, between 40 to 70% of everybody in this country at one point or another could contract the virus. You do understand that, right?
And I have three responses to that. Number one, saying that there's a possibility something may happen is very different than what he said. He said definitively 50% of California is going to get this.
Well, they're saying more than. Well, I understand what you're saying, but a lot of these professionals, again, even those in the Trump administration, it is more than likely. They're not saying it's 100%.
So to my second point, the CDC and these individuals, this is a for-profit business. Like, these guys are not just these benevolent angels who wake up in the morning and want to cure cancer. They prosper off of stuff like this and finding vaccines, and when people are afraid, like this is their time to shine, essentially. So yes, it's true, they are going to say things like that, because, and also to set aside the conspiracy theory nonsense. Like, fine, what's the number one motivation for doctors in this country? The answer: to not get sued.
Right.
That's what they care about.
Right.
So if they say, look, this is not as serious as
that's a fair point. That's a fair point. I get where you're going. Yeah.
People are not going to get it.
And they die.
People do get it.
Right.
And they sue.
Listen, I agree with you. That's a very fair point that you just said, in that people are afraid of lawsuits, whether it be a company, a radio station, it could be a restaurant, whatever the case may be.
A casino.
They are being a casino.
Of
So,
course. Right.
but I'm sure,
exactly.
but I'm sure you would also agree it's better to be on the side of caution than to underestimate this.
100% no.
So you think the casinos should be open right now?
Being cautious is one thing, but this is not caution. Caution would have been, look, if you're elderly or you're immunocompromised, we advise that you stay inside. If you're younger, there is a chance that you're going to get this. So we also recommend that you're careful and you wash your hands and you do what Trump initially wanted to do until the CDC, again, a for-profit organization, said, no, it has to be way more serious. We got to quarantine. Being cautious would have been that. What we're doing now is so much worse and more detrimental to this country that it's like, this is far beyond caution. You have to be responsible with what you say. If you make a statement like, because this is not an incorrect statement, 100% of this country might get COVID and they might die.
Right.
That's not like 100% of this country's population could die from this virus.
All right. Well, listen. Well, I don't.
Going to cause panic.
I hear you. While I don't 100% agree with you, I don't necessarily disagree with you either, if that makes sense. I think we should be able to find a happy medium by not overreacting. And listen, there's a lot of people in Las Vegas. Well, there's a lot of people in Las Vegas that would agree with you. There's a lot of people that are not working today. For the next month, they're not going to be able to work. They don't know where their next paycheck is coming. Luckily, there are some companies that are stepping to the plate, but not all of them. And these are people.
The film industry shut down. Like,
Right. No, I hear you.
Deals that I had that were very close to closing before this happened have stopped.
No, listen, you're right.
Like, we don't know when things are going to go, and causing that kind of uncertainty is unacceptable.
No, listen, it's a valid point. I think we haven't really found that happy medium yet. And listen, I'm not happy about what's going on here in Las Vegas. At the same time, I want people to be safe and be cared. But listen, you bring up some excellent points. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Mr. X, the Hollywood conservative producer out there in Hollywood. The entire movie industry has been shut down. Speaking of celebrities, Mr. X, speaking of the movie industry, I had to play you a little bit of audio. This is Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, and other celebrities singing John Lennon's song Imagine on social media, and it's been sparking some backlash for being tone deaf and out of touch with society. So we want to play a little tidbit of this for you, and then we want you to comment on it. Here it is.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people
Living for today. Yeah.
Imagine there is no countries, It isn't hard to do.
Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too.
So we had Jimmy Fallon there. We had Sarah Silverman. First of all, none of them can sing. The guy who sang for us last segment, Promptu, did a much better job than anybody in that song. So people are saying a lot of these celebrities are tone deaf and they're doing this stupid song. And, it reminded me a little bit of Michael Jackson, which was a lot better. The song he did with all those celebrities was great.
We Are the World.
Yeah, We Are the World.
The same thing happened after 9/11. It was Where's the Love? Remember that?
Yeah. So let me get your reaction to this, Mr. X. Do you think it's fair, the criticism that these celebrities are getting for putting this song out? A lot of people are saying they're tone deaf. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why much of America can't stand Hollywood. I mean, it's pretty much summed up in that viral video, whatever the hell that was. I mean, I couldn't even listen to
that viral virus video.
I like, exactly. I like Gal Gadot. She's beautiful and she's great as Wonder Woman. But get out of here. Nobody wants to do this. People are already annoyed. People are already annoyed that celebrities and NBA players are getting, tested and normal people can't, which is also insane. Like the fact that
Right.
How are suddenly so many celebrities and NBA players and stuff have this virus? Like this means that we all probably have it or had it at some point pretty recently.
Well, especially
when
you look at the new numbers, which I think it says 16,500 cases confirmed in the United States, and 220 some odd deaths. The actual fatality rate for those who have been tested, who have either they have had symptoms that have been strong enough to be tested, or they're in New York City or somewhere there's testing available, 1.36% of those people are dying, and that's actually significantly down from 1.6%, which I think that number is going to keep dropping as well. But considering that, it is very interesting that the wealthiest and the most famous people in this country have access to this.
Mr. X, let me add something as well. You know, you heard all those celebrities in that song. They think they're doing their part. Let me tell you who's doing their part. Let me bring up the Vegas Golden Knights, for example. They've raised excess of $500,000 to be distributed to all those in the T-Mobile arena that need help. The employees that aren't working, the vendors. How about a guy like a Kevin Love, an NBA player, former All-Star, who put up $100,000 to help the people in his arena get by? Those are the celebrities that are using that platform for good. For these morons and idiots, and I don't know if all of them haven't done some other things. I hope some of them have, but I would think that some of them haven't. They think because they sing a couple lyrics of Imagine by John Lennon, they think that they're doing their part. I think it is tone deaf.
It's absurd, and they need to definitely know their crowd at this point. Like this is a very sensitive and cynical time right now, and nobody wants to hear from them. I mean, I literally don't know a single person that posted this and said, this is great. Actually, I take that back. I follow so many idiots on social media that there were definitely people, this is beautiful. You know, I just like, it's ridiculous. We can all agree. I don't think any of us think it was a good idea, and I think they probably don't even think it was a good idea.
Mr. X, Mr. X, it's producer Jason. I forgot to mention something when we were talking this morning. Did you happen to hear about Jared Leto? He was like having a cleansing hike in the desert. What was that about? He was on some retreat?
Yeah, so he was on a meditation retreat, and I think he returned this past Sunday or something, and he said, what is happening?
He had no idea. He was gone for a month in the desert, and then emerged and said, wait, what's going on? There's a shutdown?
Are you talking like Joshua Tree? Is that where he was?
Yeah, he was at a meditation. Well, and also there was something with like Big Brother Germany when they saved the people on that show, didn't know? And and that was fine. I just wish that when they told the Big Brother guys, I wish that they had also like introduced a new roommate or something that looked kind of sickly or something at the time, just to spice it up. I don't know.
It's just so ridiculous. It's just another example, I think, and you probably agree, of the out of touch nature of Hollywood. It must be nice to go take a month off and go meditate in the desert while people are getting fired from their jobs as servers and other service industry jobs.
That's honestly the part of this that's actually been bothering me the most with regard to like social media in particular, is that I see so many people who are like, we've got a social distance, and if I hear the term social distancing one more time,
Well, women have been practicing that with me since I was a very young child.
Yeah, exactly. Stay indoors and yada yada. Like most of the people I see who are saying this are upper middle class, and they have jobs where they can work from home. Like, that's easy for you to say. Sure, let's stay home. Like, what about the people, what about the single mom who works, a full-time job and has kids?
No, listen, I have to admit, I have to admit, I'm taking your side on just about everything you said today. I don't necessarily disagree with you. Like I said, I think there needs to be some sort of happy medium, and we don't have that right now. Now, moving on, what more important person to talk about than what I consider as the double murderer himself, O.J. Simpson. Simpson is reacting to the coronavirus, but the first person he's thinking about is himself. I know that might be a shocker to you. I want you to listen to a little bit of this audio. This is O.J. Simpson, who, by the way, lives a couple miles down from where I live right now, where we're broadcasting. This is O.J. Simpson reacting on the golf course to the coronavirus and these possible golf closures. Have a listen to this.
So I kind of understand what the golf course is doing. I'm not going to criticize them, but you let guys have their own golf cart. You tell them not to, pull the pin out. I guess you don't touch the pin. You don't really get that close to one another on a golf course, and I think for some of the older guys that golf is their only exercise, I think it's going to hurt them if you start closing all the golf courses. I'm just saying, and if you do close them, you better open up some insane asylum get me a bed because I know if I can't play golf for the next month, I would go crazy.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Is that a threat?
I don't know.
Is it going to slit our throat?
My response is, guys, let's do what OJ says, because if we want to talk about things that have a high body count and have a high fatality rate, OJ.
Well, again, allegedly.
Okay,
allegedly.
but in all seriousness, gentlemen, Mr. X, in all seriousness, that's the thing that's on O.J. Simpson's mind. He should be thanking his lucky stars that he's not behind bars. And he decides with his platform, and like him or not, the guy has a huge platform, right? People pay attention to what he says. The thing he decides to talk about is the golf course and him not being able to play golf.
If he didn't have his baggage, he's a funny guy. I mean, he could have a career in comedy, in my opinion. But I actually kind of agree with him. If there's one sport you can play right now under these circumstances, it is golf.
Yeah, he's right.
I mean, he is correct.
He's out of touch with what's happening, and it's not the right time to say it. But he's absolutely right. I mean, why not let people golf?
OJ's actually
sport, but it's not the time. I mean, it's like
right.
There are people who are dying of this disease, which is unfortunate. Way less than garners this response, but there are, and people are scared. And yeah, I mean, talking about golf is probably not the best idea right now. But, OJ is gonna OJ.
OJ is saying that he's going to go crazy is very, very strange because it's got to be a short journey. But, he's made a series, Mr. X, of videos about the coronavirus. And there was one last week where he was wearing a mask and literally, I can't make this up, black gloves. And he was taking a disinfectant and spraying down his money. He had these crumpled $5 and $1 bills and maybe a 20 in there on a table in his backyard. And he was spraying it. And his daughter was shooting the video, and she says, "Dad, what are you doing?" And he says, "Well, with this coronavirus, you can't be too careful." So he's spraying his money down. I mean, who is going to go crazy? He is crazy, right?
Yeah, OJ. I mean, yeah.
Unless he's
priorities in line.
Yeah, there's no question. There's no question his priorities are not in line, and sadly he lives here in Las Vegas. I wish he'd just move somewhere where nobody could hear him ever again. But we hope OJ never plays golf again for the rest of his life, unless they have some golf courses at some of these jails. I don't think they do, but in my personal opinion, that's where he belongs.
OJ is innocent, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let me ask you this. On a serious note, you said that obviously the movies production, everything's shut down. Explain to me what that means for so many people that are working in Hollywood right now. The production is shut down. That means all the makeup artists, all the camera people. Explain to me the impact just from your profession and what that means.
And not on actors, not on the multi-millionaire actors. We're talking like union workers that yeah, exactly.
It's huge. I know lots of people who have filed for unemployment. I can't tell you how many makeup artists and set designers I've seen recently on social media, proposing, asking if anybody wants a Skype tarot reading, or that I'm like, okay, like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely like, these are not necessarily people who are skilled in other professions. The way that this industry and honestly this country is set up is it's not like the olden days where somebody's got multi skills and it's like, oh, okay, I can't do makeup art, well, no problem, I can cook, or I can go do something else that it will garner money. I mean, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and just ask if I knew of any side work and anything like that, and I'm like, I mean, no, not really. So I mean, I think that right now there remains sort of a hope that like this will be over at some point soon, and I maintain that from the perspective that like, and I was saying this to JD the other night, I think there's going to come a point very soon where even the filthy liberals are done with this, and they're done being broke, and just go, no, like, this is like, I cannot pay my rent now, like, enough with this social distancing crap. I'm getting back to work. I don't care what anyone says.
Right, and at that,
I was there as soon as this started. But I think other people, it's easy for them to go on social media right now and say, stay inside, and post pictures of nurses saying, I go to work. Can you stay home? Like, yeah, cool. All right, get it, got it. Sounds.
I agree with you. I think this.
Given a month of no income.
Yeah, exactly.
You're actually struggling. No, you're gonna be saying the same thing as me. Of like, I would rather get this virus and go on with my life legitimately.
Well, speaking of getting on with our lives, we'll let you do that, Mr. X. We appreciate you coming on and giving us your perspective. Safe, my friend, and hopefully you get back to work soon. Obviously, we're rooting for everybody to be able to get back to work soon, so long as it is safe, and hopefully it will be. But Mr. X, great point you made on the show today. Always appreciate it when you come on. All right, take care.
Thanks a lot, Mr. X.
Not a big fan of Gavin Newsom. I'm just getting that sense from the Hollywood conservative, Mr. X. But anyway, coming up next, when we get back, we're going to be joined by a man. His name is Chris Janetsky. Chris Janetsky is a guy who bought 48 boxes of toilet paper by accident with his wife. Now he's actually happy he made that mistake. He's going to share with us his story in this frenzy of a lack of toilet paper. He's going to share that with us.
The wife will be on with us too, by the way.
Oh, that's
just learned Haiti.
This will be a very interesting interview. So we're looking forward to talking to Chris when we come back on the Vegas Take. So you want to stay tuned for that. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN.
This is the story of Julie Guillot. She's a Leukemia and Lymphoma Society advocate and the mother of a child who battled blood cancer.
Zach was diagnosed with AML, a deadly leukemia, when he was only 5. He died at just 9 years old, really from the treatment that was meant to save him.
Today, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is pioneering breakthrough treatments for kids with cancer. Visit LLS.org and save a child's life. Furnished by LLS.
So now I've got this pack of 4 Shapiro rescue dogs for, oh my goodness, probably 5-6 years. They get a regular diet of Dinovite with every meal.
DINOVITE.com.
People remark on what beautiful coats they've got. I tell them, you don't need to wait until a problem presents itself. It's far better to keep the dog happy and healthy at all times.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
Special report coronavirus update. President Trump is invoking the Defense Production Act to try to increase the amount of medical equipment now being produced and in desperately short supply.
We invoked it, I think, the day before. We signed it the evening of the day before and invoked it yesterday. We have a lot of people working very hard to do ventilators and various other things.
So
yes.
you're using it now to tell businesses they need to make ventilators, masks, respirators?
For certain things that we need.
Italy has recorded its highest day-to-day rise in the number of deaths of persons infected with coronavirus, 627 new deaths and 6,000 new infections. The British government is ordering all pubs, restaurants, movie theaters, and gyms to close. The death toll from the virus crossed the 200 mark in the United States today. More than 14,000 Americans have now been confirmed to have the virus. On Wall Street, the Dow is down more than 400 points. I'm Mike Moss.
It's time to check the roads.
From the Allyn Root Traffic Studio.
This report sponsored by Sam and Ash. Watch for slowing for a crash reported on the 95 northbound approaching Charleston. And Warm Springs Road still closed at Spencer for an ongoing accident investigation. Expect heavy delays in traffic in the area or take an alternate to avoid slowing like Sunset or Windmill instead. No delays on the Southern Beltway east side, west side inbound. Hurt in an accident? You deserve fair and full compensation. You deserve what's right. You need Sam and Ash. Visit them now at samandash.com or call 702-820-1234. I'm John Michaels from the KDAWN Traffic Center.
Travis Scribner, managing partner of Westpac Wealth Partners, interviews some of the most successful business owners for insight into what makes both them and their business run. Tune in every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDAWN, or podcasts on iTunes.
SportsX Radio Nation, what's up? It's Ken Thompson, host of SportsX Radio, reminding you to catch me at my new time, 8 to 10 p.m. for all the local Vegas sports coverage, plus the national scene as well. That's SportsX Radio on the new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDWN.
Hey, Las Vegas, it's KDAWN's John Schaefer. You know, I've been living here in Las Vegas for 13 years, and I love this city. In fact, all of us here at KDAWN and Beasley Media are doing all we can to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. We're all in this together. KDAWN is here to support you, broadcasting live, providing information and entertainment. You can stream us from home on our app, smart speaker, or at KDWN.com. We're all in this together, Las Vegas. A message from the Beasley community of caring.
It's all now stacked up in their garage.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM 720 AM.
Back.
KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro. Thanks for sticking with us. Hour number 3, and as you know, during this coronavirus outbreak, there are a lot of people that are struggling to get the basic necessities. I'm talking about water and toilet paper. I'm telling you, I'm out of toilet paper. I'm using paper towels, folks. I know that's a really difficult graphic for you. I just gave it to you right now. But, you know, a lot of people are stocking up on toilet paper. They think it's the next zombie apocalypse. And it's a weird spot. It's a weird situation. Well, there's one couple we're going to be talking to right now. They certainly don't have a shortage of toilet paper. Let me explain. Chris Janetsky and his wife, Haiti, accidentally bought 48 boxes of toilet paper before the coronavirus thing happened. That's 2,304 rolls, ladies and gentlemen. You could go number 2 for the rest of your life, and that might last you enough. It's crazy, and Chris and Haiti are going to try to explain that to us now. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being here. How are you guys?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Yeah, very well, thanks.
So I want to also mention people are saying, you know, well, what about the accent? Yes, you guys live in Australia, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Chris or Haiti, can you give me the story starting from square one? How does this happen? When? How far back did you order this toilet paper? Just give me the story from square one, if you can.
Okay. So we've been ordering our toilet paper online for a year or two, and it's a subscription service. So you sign up and you get a box every, ours was 12 weeks, and it just gets charged to your credit card. We changed our order in January from the recycled toilet paper to the premium toilet paper. And in so doing, it asked me for the quantity, and I typed in 48 because I wanted 48 rolls.
Right.
And about a week later, about the 4th or 5th of February, I got a confirmation email saying your toilet paper's on the way. That was all good. And then on the 10th of February, it arrived at the door, but it was 48 boxes.
Okay, so who's the one that answered the door? Was it you or was it Chris?
It was Chris.
Okay, so Chris, take me through that now. And that's an honest mistake. You know, anyone could have made that mistake. So Chris, what is your reaction? Take me through that when you open up the door and you see these boxes of toilet paper, 2,304 rolls. Take me through that.
So I opened the door and the delivery driver said, "I've got a couple of crates of toilet paper for you." And I thought he was having a joke. And I said, "A couple of crates?" And he said, "Yeah." And I looked out my front door into my driveway, and sure enough, there was 2 pallets. One pallet already on my driveway, and one pallet sitting in the back of his truck, ready, full of toilet paper, ready to be delivered to us.
Oh, my God. So what do you say to your wife at that point?
I called out to her because she happened to be at home as well. And, "Hey, what have you done?" She comes to the front door and goes, "Oh, my goodness." And so she jumps on her phone onto our credit card app because surely, you know, this was a mistake. And sure enough, we had been charged over $3,000 for all of this toilet paper.
Oh, $3,000 worth of toilet paper. Okay, this is ironic and it's strange, right, guys? Because obviously there was no shortage of toilet paper back when you guys ordered this. This is important to note. This was before the coronavirus outbreak. So now you're in a situation where, listen, I'm 39 years old. I can't recall ever a time in my life where there was a shortage of toilet paper. You can go to a 7-Eleven, a convenience store, a supermarket. They always had toilet paper, but now we're in a situation where we're at a shortage. So what do you make of this? I mean, it's the irony of this, right? Right, guys?
Yes, so ironic. And so we tried to return the toilet paper because we went, how are we going to get rid of all of this, you know? But in the meantime, because it took them a couple of days to get back to our email, and a few people had said, "Oh, well, we'll buy some off you and we'll help you out with that." And so by the time they got back to us, we had decided, oh, no, we'll keep it, we'll get rid of it. You know, it might take a year or two, but we've got some people who are willing to buy it. And then when this whole toilet paper shortage thing happened, we were like, holy cow, we're set.
What did you do with these boxes? Because I know I saw a picture of you standing, sitting on some of these boxes, and like, where did you store these boxes of toilet paper for a while?
Well, the first night we had to kick the car out of the garage onto the driveway.
You might be.
Do not unwrap it. Leave it.
All right, hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to repeat what you just said because I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that in my life. You had to take the car out of your garage to store toilet paper. That's unprecedented. That's unprecedented, Haiti. I've never heard anybody say that before.
Well, you can lock up a car.
That's true. So you take the car out of your garage just to store the toilet paper. I mean, I guess you could have a running joke, right? If somebody said to you, "Well, what the hell do you guys have all this toilet paper?" You say, "Well, my husband just goes number 2 a lot." I mean, I guess you could kind of have fun with this a little bit.
Yeah. There was plenty of puns, plenty of jokes.
Speaking of puns, guys, this is Jason, the producer. I set up this interview with you. Nice to talk to you over the phone. Thanks for doing this. What was the name of the company that you actually ordered the toilet paper from?
Who gives a crap?
Love that. I had to get that detail in there.
So how many rolls of toilet paper now do you have in your home? You've mentioned that you've been able to sell some of them. So what are we looking at right now?
Well, we have our box of 48 that we've unpacked into our cupboards. But then we've also got 2 boxes, I think, left.
Oh, so that's not too bad.
So, but we've sort of marked it as sold out, and we're hanging on to those 2 boxes for emergencies for close friends and family who do actually run out.
That's great.
We don't know how long this shortage is going to last.
Well, that's very nice of you guys to do that. I guess my question to you is, will you ever go online again to order toilet paper?
Absolutely.
You're still going to do it. Okay, come on now. Chris, what do you think about that? She says she's still going to continue to do it. Do you now trust her in ordering this toilet paper? Or do you worry this could happen again?
I'm pretty sure I'll be looking over her shoulder just to make sure that she only orders 1 box, not 48.
Understandable. Okay, so on a serious note, question for both Chris and Haiti. And by the way, if you're just joining us, his name is Chris Janetsky. It's Haiti as well. They accidentally bought 48 boxes of toilet paper. That's over 2,300 rolls by accident before this coronavirus outbreak took place, and they're joining us right on the line from Australia. So I have to ask you a question about your country. How are things going there right now? Obviously, across the globe, this is a pandemic. We live here in Las Vegas. I don't know if you guys have ever taken a trip to Las Vegas, but all the casinos have been closed for the next 30 days. What is it like? What is going on in Australia right now? What is the latest you could tell us?
So we've been limited to gatherings of 100 or less inside buildings, within buildings, but they also need to be big enough to have 4 square meters per person. So we've really been limited in the size of our gatherings. Probably the most contentious thing is that schools are still open, so our government is still encouraging us to send our kids to school, but a lot of workplaces are closing or trying to get people to work from home. We've had massive layoffs in some of our big industries. So Qantas, our biggest airline, has laid off a lot of people. So, yeah, things are starting to get a little bit scary, and the economic sort of side of all of this is really starting to unravel, starting to show itself. And there's massive concern about how far this is going to go and what the consequences will be and how long it will last for.
As you know, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson were both diagnosed with the coronavirus while in Australia. Once that happened, did that kind of ramp up the concern around the country?
I think it actually, in a lot of ways, it calmed a lot of things because we also saw them being released from hospital and being cleared and everything like that. So, but Tom Hanks can survive anything, can't he?
Right, exactly. Right.
That's true, although he could have used some... Yeah, that's true. He could have used some of your toilet paper when he was trapped on the island.
Fast.
Yeah. So I have some advice for both of you, Chris and Haiti. By the way, you sound like 2 very lovely people, and we appreciate you taking some time to join us. I think what you should do to help some people in this country, send some of that toilet paper to all the restrooms in the Taco Bells across the country. I think the company would greatly appreciate that.
I visited the States a couple of years ago and tried Taco Bell, so I completely get that.
Except not to be a stickler here, Brian, but I think the Taco Bells are actually closed right now.
Oh, that's right.
But when they reopen, we can use some of your TV.
Well, listen, Chris, Haiti, I appreciate both of you coming on our show, making something good out of a mistake, and you guys should be commended for that. Good luck to you and your toilet paper moving forward, and you guys stay safe and stay healthy, okay? Thank you so much for taking some time to join us. We really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. There you go. That is Chris Janetsky and Haiti. They're in Australia. They accidentally bought 48 boxes of toilet paper, over 2,300 rolls. But you know what? They're really good people. They're giving the toilet paper out to those in need, and I think they should really be commended for that.
Did they mention this in the interview? But that's actually 12-year supply.
For JD, that's about 1 year supply.
Yeah, well, but for an average person, that's a 12-year supply of toilet paper. That's a jackpot.
They really are. They're literally.
This thing goes on for 12 years.
I know. They're set. They're set for life. Well, we appreciate them taking.
They
some
definitely
time
caught lightning in a tissue.
No question. No question. That's a good one. All right, so we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is time for our hate mail segment of the day. I'm sure there'll be plenty of it to go around. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take right here on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I shopped the many highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $27 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-860-6565. That's 800-860-6565. 800-860-6565. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you
we
save.
can talk about what we're going to do this
details on the example policy. It's
Yes, maybe Shapiro's back.
They want me to send an email to the general manager of the station that he works at and say I'd like it to demand an apology.
Our nation's heroes who return from war, but continue to fight a battle for survival on our city's gritty streets. The basic human need of shelter shouldn't be a luxury to military heroes, which is why there is Veterans Village. Veterans Village is a nonprofit organization providing transitional housing, meals, and social services to homeless vets to give them a hand up. Veterans Village is a place of hope, but we can't do it without you. Be a hero to heroes and donate any amount you can afford at vvlv.org. That's vvlv.org. vvlv.org.
Millions retire online so they can do what they want offline. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Mark Levin, weekdays 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now back to the Vegas Take on 101.5 FM, 720 AM, KDON.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro wrapping up the week of shows here on a Friday. And by the way, let me just mention this real quickly. If you missed the explosive interview, I think it's fair to call it that, with radio host Newsmax Wayne Allyn Root, who, by the way, we're learning allegedly was just fired from the Review Journal. If you missed that interview, we'll have it up very soon on our Vegas Take Twitter page, on the Vegas Take YouTube page. We'll put it up on all of our social media platforms, and you can make the decision for yourself what side you take.
I don't understand how someone who self-proclaims to be so successful and so wealthy can just implode like that on air and not just say, hey, I made a couple of statements that I probably shouldn't have made over the course of my career. It doesn't make a difference if you've made 20,000 outstanding tweets. If you make one completely egregious over the top tweet,
you have to apologize for it.
You have to.
That's all.
And if someone asks you about it, and he literally said, no liberal media, and he called you a liberal, has asked me about these tweets. Then you asked him. He said, I'll answer the questions, and then he didn't actually answer any questions. And then he started insulting you. So I was actually very surprised that he lost his composure that fast.
Yeah, and I was happy to give him the time to explain. But when your explanation to your defense is, well, that's only 4 or 5 tweets. That's not a defense, right? It's not a defense when you put out a comment that says calling somebody old just as offensive as calling somebody the N-word. Not only is it a ridiculous tweet, but hurtful to a lot of people because clearly he doesn't understand the damage that word has had over the course of a year.
You're saying that age discrimination is on the same level as race discrimination?
Ridiculous. But here's the thing. We all, now I've never said anything like that. I never would. But we're all human. We all make mistakes, even though I think he's made a lot of them. All he had to do was say, you know what, that was a horrible thing to say. I apologize to the African American community, or I apologize to the Muslims, the good Muslims out there, because I accused Muslims of the October 1 shooting. Now his defense was, well, that day was crazy. Okay, that's fine. I understand. But if that day was crazy,
that day was crazy.
Okay,
and no one really knew what was happening.
And that's fine. But apologize. He can't apologize for anything he's ever done. And he wants me to apologize to him for calling him a name when he did the exact same thing to me in that interview. I find it mind-boggling. I don't want to spend any more time on this guy because, quite frankly, he's not worth it. But what we do want to do, I'll tell you something that is worth it. It's our producer's favorite segment of the day, and it is called Hate Mail. Stein, take her away. What do we got today?
It's been a crazy week. We need a little bit of humor and normalcy, don't we? So let's get back to ripping on Brian.
Awesome.
Susan writes, hi guys, how are you? As soon as I tuned in this morning, I see Brian is still a raging lunatic.
That's it? Just calls me a raging lunatic. That's it?
I mean, you can do better than that.
Yeah, that's weak. That's the best comment you could come up with.
It's almost a compliment, right?
Well,
yeah.
That's a pretty standard sentiment.
Yeah.
There's nothing unusual about that. I've heard that hundreds of times.
I mean, I don't know. We have a few people on hold, too, by the way. We'll take a few
we'll take a couple calls. But Big Daddy writes... he was listening to the Wayne Allyn Root interview. Brian, you sound like a spoiled millennial arguing with your dad. Brian is such a child who hates everyone that disagrees with him. He even blocked me on Twitter for disagreeing. Brian says some real stupid crap, far more ridiculous than Wayne Allyn Root.
Then please give me one example of anything I said that is more ridiculous. See, you make a blatant claim like that, then be specific. Find me one thing that I've said that is far more ridiculous.
I actually think during the show, our Instagram's been getting a lot of messages from, I don't know if the Wayne Allyn Root disciples, I guess, if you will, but I think this guy's probably one of those people that have messaged our Instagram.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Go ahead, Stein.
Dana writes, this program is like the moped at a Hells Angels convention.
That's kind of funny. I like that.
Very good one.
Mabel Shapiro, your mother. When Brian was 14, we found him passed out naked on our kitchen floor. When he came to, he explained that it was the neighbor's rabbit who snuck and stabbed him between his buttocks cheeks with a carrot. I'm not sure.
Wonder how long. I wonder if this person who wrote that thought about what they were going to comment last night.
Well, it makes me think of Easter.
yeah. What's wrong with a carrot? Carrots are good.
Thanks as always, Mabel. You still deny that's your mother, right?
Yes, that is my mother. That's not my mother's name.
Michael Avenatti, doubtful it's the real Michael Avenatti who's in prison in Manhattan.
That's a fair assumption.
But a fake Michael Avenatti writes, not sure if you've read that I have 3 rats in my cell. I name them JD, Brian, and Stein. I hold my own little daily podcast with them. It has helped me not to go completely insane.
Okay, not funny. Not really funny.
I thought it was
at all.
actually kind of funny.
I appreciate the shout out.
That wasn't bad at all.
Should we take some calls, Stein? What do you think?
Let me give you one more here.
All
right. Give me a second here. There was one that I really wanted.
Not like we're on live radio or anything.
No, it's okay.
Oh,
This is the process, man.
Oh, okay. The process. Trust the process. You sound like the Detroit Lions.
Okay, here we go. Another commenter. Brian looks like how I'd imagine Ted Binion to look right now.
Well, the reference being that Ted Binion is dead. I'll tell you what, if I could look like a dead billionaire, that's not a bad thing. Good old Ted Binion.
And if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Brian has all this week been doing the show in his bathrobe with his pasty white chest exposed to the world.
Yes.
So
Very
that's
sexy.
a little incentive for you to sign up. Let's take some calls.
All right, let's take some phone calls. Let me give out the number, 702-257-5396. Free for all, I guess you could call it, to anything we've covered on the show today, whether it be the Wayne Allyn Root interview, Lawrence Weekly. I thought that was fantastic. We had Mr. X, the Hollywood conservative, or how about that lovely couple from Australia that bought 48 boxes of
4:30 in the morning, by the way.
Yeah,
I didn't mention it. They got up at 4:30 just to do that with us. Very nice.
702-257-5396 the number to call. We'll try to squeeze in a few more calls before Sean Hannity. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you're first up here on the Vegas Take. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Everything's good. Listen, when I did call earlier, Alex Jones and Wayne Allyn Root are related, and when I was kidding about that, they both pushing colloidal silver. They're two phonies, two frauds, and they're both. Brian, once again, you did a fantastic job. Good job. Something else I'd like to tell you. I just got a report from a friend of mine in Brooklyn. Unemployment in Brooklyn is so bad now, the mafia had to lay off 4 judges.
Oh, jeez, that's a good one.
Another report I'd like to give you.
Yes.
You had a Uber guy on, which was good. Do you know that Yellow Cab has 2 gentlemen who do nothing but sanitize cabs all day? And my friend had to wait 38 minutes the other day. He's been a driver for a long time.
Well, that could really put somebody to insanity. I mean, just ask Robert De Niro. He went a little crazy at the end of that movie. Anyway, we appreciate the phone call. Good to hear from you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Costa.
Number to call, 702-257-5396. Questions, concerns. We want to hear from you, your stories in regards to the coronavirus. Obviously, we're wrapping up a week of shows. The only way we could do this show was to actually do it from a remote location. We couldn't do it from a bar. We couldn't do it from a restaurant. We had to do it from somebody's home, so we decided to do it from mine. And, it's crazy. Crazy situation, crazy times that we're living in. Again, that number 257-5396. My question is, here we are on a Friday, a normal weekend for many. What are you all going to do this weekend? You can't go out to a restaurant. You can't go to a movie theater. You can't go to your local bar. You can't go play bingo, JD. You can't gamble. What are we all going to do this weekend? That is my question to all of you, including you, JD. What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to do a lot of working. We're actually we're in the process of possibly expanding our show on a national level to several, if not dozens, of new markets, and I am going to work on kind of developing that deal. And that'll take a good amount of my time to do that, and then besides that, I'll hang out with my family, my daughter, my 2-year-old daughter, my wife, who I just purchased a PS4 for, so she can just sit at home and play video games, which is great. But no sports. Might not go to the park a couple times. Hopefully the weather is nice.
No Bed Bath and Beyond this weekend.
No, that's not going to take place. But I hope the weather is nice, and I can maybe do a jog or something along those lines. I hope it's not 48 or 60 degrees. I hope it's 75 to 80, something along those lines.
I'll tell you what,
that would be outstanding for me.
I'll tell you what. I think me and Stein are going to watch a lot of porn together this weekend.
Absolutely, you should.
I think that's what we're going to do.
It's a wise decision.
Isn't that right, Stein?
6 feet away from each other.
6 feet away.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I hadn't planned on watching
6 inches
any
away
porn with you. I'm going. By the way, JD, is your wife? I would say she got a mild addiction to bingo. Is this affecting her that she hasn't been able to go to bingo?
I'm actually very happy about it. I think
you're happy about it, but she's loving it.
Well, she won $5,000, like her 3rd time playing.
Right.
And then we actually lost about 35 sessions in a row.
Oh my.
And each of those sessions cost me probably $225. So we actually ended up down a couple thousand. So I'm very relieved that I'm not playing bingo 6 nights a week right now. I'm very relieved.
I'm going to be self-quarantining.
Thanks for bringing that up. I just developed a small case of bingo PTSD.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's fine.
I'm going to be self-quarantining all weekend. This is great because that's what I do on the weekends anyway. Now I just have an official government excuse to do it.
Absolutely.
And I'll probably be doing some show-related stuff, and I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna try to find some weights, some free weights, or because no gyms are open. I got to figure out how to kind of stay in shape.
A lot of people are saying that they're going to
go to the gym.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they're going to take this opportunity to get fit.
It's going to happen, Stein. It will take place.
When is this going to be over, JD? You've got a pretty good handle on these things. You read a lot.
With the new news about the chloroquine / Z-Pak hybrid cure potentially, I think that in the next 3 weeks we'll see some serious progress. If you actually look at the death rate, it's down significantly. You're going to see probably that drop to probably less than 1%. And you're going to realize that there's hundreds of thousands of people who have the virus in this country. And a lot of them just are not symptomatic. A lot of them have mild symptoms. And that actually is not a bad thing, because if you have this virus and you get over the virus and you develop an immunity to it, if the virus comes back, then you can't spread it to somebody else. And so I actually think that it's not the worst thing in the world for a lot of Americans to have the virus, have it not affect them, so that if the virus does come back, that they're not spreading it again.
Will there be a March Madness in May?
There's no chance.
Will there be an NBA season?
No chance. And
not at all. No, zero.
NBA's over. NHL is over, and that sucks because I've got about $8,000 in futures that I can't get out of the sports books because they're not open.
When will baseball start up again?
Baseball starts, I believe, probably June 1st.
Okay, so a shortened baseball season.
No
NBA playoffs.
The baseball season's 162 games long. It doesn't need to do that long in
so
the first
play
place.
like a half.
Probably like 120 games, maybe 100 games. I think NBA is over, and I think NHL is over. And the reason I think NBA is over is because all it takes is one of these guys who has this virus to show up and say, no, your lung capacity is diminished or something along those lines, and there's a giant potential lawsuit there. I think the NBA is risking a lot because considering they've got 7 teams now with players that have, with either players or members of the organizations that actually have tested positive for the coronavirus, and including 2 Los Angeles Lakers, mind you. It's kind of the country's #1 organization from a fan base standpoint, especially what's going on in California as well. Also you're looking at Illinois. They're doing the stay-at-home shelter thing that's going to start on Saturday, I believe. So yeah, I think NHL is over. I think NBA is over. Major League Baseball will happen, and NFL will happen, and so will college football. The fans will be the most ravenous they've ever been in their entire life.
You can't take football away from them.
No, there's no.
Of course, I just want to know.
It's going to be unbelievable, the response by the fans, and Las Vegas is not going to feel this at all once everything's done. Las Vegas will explode.
Let me just note this. Like the Dayton Flyers of the NCAA that are or San Diego State that had a great season that will never be able to finish this off. My Milwaukee Bucks, first place, best record in the NBA, probably the best chance that they've had to win the championship since 1971, and we're not gonna see the end of this season. Think about all those sports stories that are out there. Anyway,
if they keep Giannis,
30 seconds,
they'll have a chance again. But Giannis hasn't been a gamer thus far.
All right, so let me just close by saying this. We're going to continue to do this next week. We are going to be live on Monday, wherever it may be. It could be my kitchen. Maybe it's the studio. I doubt that. But we are going to be broadcasting live, and we are going to continue to bring you the latest information we can with the best guests that we can put together. And also, we're going to hear from you. So I hope everybody gets through the weekend okay. Please stay safe. Stay healthy, everybody. Sean Hannity coming up next. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Your home for Sean Hannity, KDWN Las Vegas.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
ZHD2 Las Vegas, a Beasley Media Group station.
And I get over it. That means I can't infect somebody else. I can't get reinfected by it. That really isn't, in the grand scheme of things, that's not a bad thing.
Today was, I thought, the smoothest of the 3 shows.
It was good, yeah.
In terms of, the board and the commercials, the
So
sound.
listen, we need to label this very smartly. This interview I did with him. We can go Allyn Root versus Brian Shapiro.
Allyn Root turns